Welcome back to the Nerdrotic podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. Excuse me. I'm live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And it's Friday Night Live. We got our live podcast where you tell us what you want to talk about in the chat. We answer your questions, and we talk about our previous podcast from the week, we talk about all the news. And Dennis picks that out. And I'm with my co-hosts tonight, both of them. I got Jon Reed down in LA and Dennis Bithoulkas down in San Diego. What is up, guys?
Hello.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So as always, we start these with the news. We'll go over the news a little bit, and that'll let some chatters get in, I guess, and then we can start chatting away. So Dennis, take it away.
All right. As usual, we start with the deaths that have happened. Celebrity deaths. So we're going to start off with Cranberry singer Dolores O'Riordan passed away at the age of 46. We don't know what from as of yet, but we probably will know next month, more than likely.
So has anybody checked on that?
Yeah, and I haven't seen anything. I mean, we just found out today what Tom Petty died of, so it was drug overdose. So, and that was 2 months ago.
Dolores was, I guess it's just odd because it's even, yes, women rock stars die, Janis Joplin, but it's not a thing, it's usually dudes. So it's so different when it is a girl. And she was just like, the Cranberries, not my favorite band. My wife loved them, but she was cute. I enjoyed some of their songs. And yeah, it was just weird to see her die. And my brain goes to automatically to like drug overdose, like when somebody young. I mean, it could have been something simple, she could have had like a heart problem or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I don't know what
rock stars
heart problems. That's anyway. Yeah, it was very weird, and we will find out more. And when we do find out, we will let you guys know.
Goodbye, Dolores.
Yeah. The other death that we had was Peter Wingard. He passed away at the ripe old age of 90 years old. And you might remember Peter Wingard as Clytus from the 1980 Flash Gordon, Sam Jones Flash Gordon. He was the Dr. Doom lookalike, if you will. He was also the basis for Austin Powers, believe it or not. It was one of the characters that he had played on a British TV show. And that's what they kind of based Austin Powers off of was his character.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Style icon. Yeah, it's funny that we start the show with this, but it's been an interesting few years. And like when all this creative talent dies, it's like, I don't know, like the Cranberries one hit me a little bit. Like I just love the music, and like it was hard, I didn't want to make light of it, but it's just some of them just like hit you, right? Like they things leave a mark, and when it's like, oh, we're not going to have any more of that art in this world, and that's it's sad to think about.
It is. Well, you're like what, 10 years younger than me? So
around there. Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, you're getting around that age where like you're the people who were about 20 years older than you. So like some rock stars that we were looking up to are starting to go. It's kind of a normal thing. She she was very young.
Yeah.
I mean, she was my age. Crap.
Yeah.
So it's weird. And but it's also part of the 90s dying too. It's a little bit of the 90s. Like all the grunge singers are dead. I like the last one is Eddie Vedder. Not my favorite. Not a Pearl Jam fan at all, ever. And yeah, he went to my high school. Before my time though, when my sister was there. But it was very sad. It was very sad. Yeah, she was just this cute little Irish girl.
Yeah, and like just so much like the way she was able to meld like message with her music would never felt like, how I feel about Soapboxy, but it just never felt overdone, and it was always very poignant, and like I just feel like she was just very good at what she did. And anyway,
I agree. That her voice is part of the 90s music scene, and to me anyway, the 90s and the early 2000s were like the last hurrah for rock, and when music was important, and it was taken seriously. And those that, tastes shift over time, and the new rock and roll is, I don't know, TV, the internet,
Different, for sure.
YouTube.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
the new rock and roll, and that's great. And video games. When people are like, when coders have like groupies,
Yes. Yeah.
it's just the times change.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good. Nerds get their day, man. The nerds got their day. All right, what else you got, D?
So we've got a slew of trailers.
Yes. Which we're not going to show you.
We're not going to show you. Amazon has Britannia, which is basically kind of like Vikings, the History Channel's Vikings, but this is the Vikings invading Great Britain at the time, or as it was called, Britannia. It looked interesting, to tell you the truth. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it or not.
It looks like a show that maybe Viking Bitch will enjoy from our chat. But I actually I don't know how much of what I liked about the trailer is actually going to be tonally what the show is like. Like, I thought the music at the beginning was really cool, and the way that they melded that with the way that it was shot. But I don't think it's going to be like modern music in the show, right? So
I don't know.
Like you think it might? That would be cool. If that's where they're going with it, I think it's pretty neat. I think it's pretty cool. So I'll definitely give it a shot. I'll be watching the first few episodes of that to see how it is.
Yeah. I know, Gary, you didn't get a chance to see it, so
I didn't get a chance to see it. So
it looks like it's a little bit lighter than like a Frontier or like a Dark Sails or something. Like, it looks a little bit like brighter in tone, and like more lush, like more. It's very like green and saturated colors. And so it looks like maybe it's a little bit less like a dark, gritty look at this thing. So I don't know, but it's that same, historical like warrior show. Right.
Yeah.
So I think it could be really cool, but it could also just be like a middle of the road or whatever version of that same thing that we're seeing a lot of shows do these days.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I just want to remind everyone that's in the chat, we are going to get to you guys. We're just going to run through the news first, and then we'll get to you guys. We're not ignoring you. As you can tell.
On top of, in addition to what Dennis just said, we will be getting there, but also we now have super chat for all you guys who are new, that if you want to pledge us, it's like a tip jar. So you want to pledge us some money, a couple dollars here and there, ask questions. We'll read those questions for sure. We'll try to get to most of your questions anyway, but it's just a little tip jar there. And if you want an ongoing pledge to help support the podcast, you can head on over to patreon.com/nerdrotic. We've got some tiers set up over there, but really it's just a way for you guys to help us keep the lights on and buy new microphones and cameras so that the technical problems that make us 10-15 minutes late some of these nights happen less and less as we improve our equipment. So
when Gary accidentally hits his microphone and unplugs it.
Yeah, the headphone jack stops working. So anyway, just wanted to remind you guys that stuff's out there if you want to help support us.
Yeah. So moving on with the trailers, we've also got Tomb Raider, the reboot. It's the second trailer that we've seen, with Vika is her name, and a lot of frenetic energy going on. I don't know if it's any better than the first one. So it didn't do anything for me, honestly.
I agree. I don't know how much interest there is in that anyway, but it's not my thing for sure. It just wasn't that interesting.
It didn't look, exactly. It didn't look bad. It just didn't look really great.
It's
really good. A movie that that would end up on ABC
Netflix.
Family if it was still around, you know what I mean? Like in the middle of or it would be on high rotation on HBO back in the 90s. It's one of those average movies that they show all the time. I could be wrong. This could be the most amazing thing ever, but it seems like one of the main things they've taken out of it is the sexuality of Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a reason it was a popular game, and we all know what that reason was. And there
really 2 reasons for that.
Toned that down.
There was 2 reasons for that. There was, the twins is what they were called.
Yes.
So the one thing I would like kind of add to this is I'm not a Tomb Raider game fan either, but it does look like this movie pulls a lot from a game that was like a very highly rated Tomb Raider kind of reboot, I think, generally speaking, game from a few years ago that like fans loved. Like this was like Tomb Raider had gone through a lull where they released tons of games, and then this was the one that kind of reset at a new standard, and it looks like they're
15
pulling
years
off.
ago.
Yeah, and it was just called Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah,
exactly. And like people loved this game, and it looks like visually similar to the stuff I saw around the release of that game. So I think maybe they're targeting the video game fans more heavily, and at the expense of maybe a broader audience that maybe they got with Angelina Jolie playing it.
Ghost World says Tomb Raider Legend. Was the game.
Yes, thank you, Ghost World.
So what video game adaptations are going to have trouble with is with comics, we were just dealing with two-dimensional characters that were not in motion. So we've always wanted to see the Silver Surfer fly and Spider-Man spin his webs. With a game, you've played it, you've experienced it, you get to control the character. Yeah, the graphics were shittier 15 years ago. I just don't know how the movie advances that experience. You already know the story, okay, unless they change the story. So unless they just take a video game adaptation and we're going to base it loosely on the game, but we're just going to focus on making it a great story, like this great story, instead of like, hey, we're going to throw in some Easter eggs from the video game, hoping your nostalgia kicks in. And I don't think that's going to work with video game movies ever. Because it's not the best experience. The actual playing of the game is the best experience. So I don't know.
I 100% agree with you, especially with the AAA games now, games like Uncharted, where like you're playing a very intricately done story with great voice acting, just these amazing voice actors, great artistic direction, and like you're interacting with that world and those characters at a level that a 2 hour for like hundreds of hours potentially, and that's against like a 2.5 hour movie with like actors and creative people who don't even care about the source material that much. Like it's just not going to be.
The movie is a side mission basically that is a very narrow side mission that you play once and you're like, okay, I'm done with that. That's pretty much.
But I do think that the hardcore Tomb Raider people probably really enjoy, will enjoy this. I think that if you want to narrow it down to what this movie is probably made for, I think it has a good chance of making that audience happy from what this trailer gave us. But who knows? I mean, I've seen a lot of video game movie trailers that have looked good, and then the movie itself has been terrible. So who knows?
Yeah.
They're shooting for the Wonder Woman / they're trying to get more women in, so they're making it for more broader appeal, just not just the 18 to 49 dudes. Which I mean, you can't blame Hollywood for trying that, because when my whole theory on Twilight, like they tapped the you know what I mean, they just tapped the potential of the female audience on that one.
But if that's the case, then you need to recast. You need to recast Laura Croft with like Chris Hemsworth and his shirt off. Like that's how you like. If that's the way to do it, then that's the movie. I don't know. I just think that there are
Dude Raider.
Yeah, Dude Raider would be something that my wife would probably like to see more than Tomb Raider. That's good.
Well, that was the argument we had with Doctor Who. I was like, hey, my wife, who's never been a Doctor Who fan, but a Torchwood fan, I'm like, hey, there's a female Doctor Who. Are you going to watch now? And she's all, no. Right. And and she just named about 5 or 6 male actors that she would rather see playing them. So
with that move,
Tom Hardy.
I feel like they're targeting really young like kids. I think they're trying to get young kid girls into Doctor Who, and like that's what they're going.
And that's the thing, like we, especially Dennis and I, because we're really old, have to keep in mind like a lot of this stuff where it doesn't look as super appealing to us because we're on the very edge of that demo now, right? So
we're not even in that demo anymore.
No, so it's just a matter of like we get what we get, and we better like it or not. That's it, and that's kind of, I don't know. It's all right.
I
I'm
think
okay with
Homer Simpson said it best. I'm in the age bracket 18. I'm a white male, age 18 to 39. Everyone listens to me.
Yeah.
that. He's yellow. He's not white.
Yellow.
Yeah. He's good.
Yes, he has a yellow.
Simpsons
Yes.
yellow.
So we also have from Paramount TV, which was AKA Spike TV, is what it used to be. Heathers. They've actually taken the movie Heathers and made a TV show out of it.
I watched that trailer.
I did too, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. It was pretty bad.
Oh,
Do you think they understand what made Heathers like a movie that people like?
Nope.
Because it doesn't seem like they do.
Yeah. Well, because they're trying to be subversive now, but they're being subversive by like really being like trendy as AF. Trendy AF. I'm trying not to cuss. I've got the cuss infinity gauntlet right over there, by the way. Anybody who cusses, you donate to the cuss infinity gauntlet. So yeah, they're just trying to be trendy as hell and like having like, okay, so the Heathers movie from the 80s was a classic, all right. And it was because it was just there was a little trend in the late 80s that was black. They were really into black humor. Black humor was like the thing from 86 to 89. Like Ruthless People, just black comedy was a big thing.
One of my favorites, if you ever get a chance to see it, is Michael Caine, A Shock to the System. I highly recommend it. It's a very small little movie, but he is awesome in it.
Yeah.
Okay, duly noted. It's got nothing to do with what we're talking about, but there you go.
Sorry, it was dark comedy. That's weird.
Yes. So yeah, just totally broke my chain of thought. Heathers was a great movie.
Sorry.
I have the 10 DVD back there, and it's something my wife and I really enjoyed. Our best mutual friend was named JD. It's got Christian Slater in it. I've always been kind of a Christian Slater fanboy because we were born within 3 hours of each other on the same day. I know it's weird, but that's like one of his best roles. This is the time when everybody was talking. He was the young Jack Nicholson, and it was, but for it to be remade into a series, which I initially thought could have been a fun idea, but the route they took was they just put a timestamp on it. I mean, I don't have a huge problem with them changing the Heathers and throwing in a guy. That's fine. It's 2018 now, but it's current year. But sorry, they just put it. It's more 2015 to me. That's the vibe I'm getting off it, and it's built to not last.
It looks like they basically just took the movie and tried to set it now, but still leave it with an 80s vibe, and it's not working at all. It looks dated. And then also the woman playing Veronica decided that she was going to take one tonal inflection that Winona Ryder used at one point in the movie and use it for every single line that she's going to say. That's weird.
Why do a Winona Ryder impression?
Yeah, it was really weird.
You're changing all the other characters, right? They don't look anything like the original Heathers. So does this take place? Is this like a sequel?
No, it's supposed to be
many years later.
Reimagining? Is that what this is?
It's just a reimagining. I don't know,
then it has Shannon Doherty in it. And
that's
also,
what I was. Yeah, that's what I was like. What?
Yeah, and there was somebody else too. Selma Blair. Selma Blair was also in it too.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a weird idea. Like it was kind of like a lightning in a bottle type thing, and just some stuff like it's just unnecessary. To like, why bring this? This isn't like a franchise IP that they should be like. No. It's just weird. It's just a good fun movie, and now it's gonna be, I don't know,
tainted.
Yeah, well, and in Viking Bit says, "Leave Heathers alone." So yeah, I don't know how you stretch it out. See, that's the thing is like, it's a movie. I'm sorry, spoilers. Where committing suicide becomes trendy because they kill somebody, and how do you do that over multiple seasons, and how do you give people character arcs?
Yeah, it's Pretty Little Liars. That show exists.
Maybe.
Anyway.
Speaking of bad shows,
oh wait, real quick, Jody said that
yeah.
the best video game movie, I'm paraphrasing what he said, by the way, is Jumanji, and that at least this year, and I would agree. Jumanji
I
was
haven't seen
very
it. Was it
good.
good?
It was very good.
Yeah, everyone's
very
been saying it's good. I need to
Very
see
surprised.
it, actually.
But yeah, my God, Logan was chuckling through the whole thing. So
Good family fun.
Yeah,
I'll
good
check that
family
out.
fun.
I love good
So
family
speaking
fun.
of other bad IPs, we had a 2-minute or 3-minute preview of Cloak and Dagger on Freeform.
Well, that's a good IP. It's questionable in the
Questionable. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a good IP. It was just a questionable show that they're doing.
So I watched that preview, and I think it falls firmly into this is not made for us. So I can't.
Oh, I know that. Yeah,
I can't really judge if it's bad or good, because like I love Cloak and Dagger, reading them in Spectacular Spider-Man in the 80s, but it's actually tailor-made for Freeform. It is, and that kind of show. So I don't know. Is it going to work? I have no idea. I have no way to judge that at all. I don't know how well Freeform is doing as a network.
So
what do you think, John?
Yeah, so I was gonna say this may be tailor made for me. I mean, like this is right in line with the kind of stuff that I typically like. What I would say about it is, one, it's like they didn't pick a lane. It's dark in tone and visually, and that's not something Freeform like. Shadowhunters, right, is a darker Freeform show, like of light quality, even though it's kind of lighter in tone to like some of those like young adult romance, supernatural romance shows or movies. But like Freeform has a hard time with that, with like walking this line of like, hey, we're Disney branded fun, but we're also doing this kind of darker show. And I think that's where they get into trouble. It comes off as very much like the worst episode of like a CW superhero show. Like, hey, what's the worst episode of Arrow? That's what we're trying to do with Cloak and Dagger, right? And I don't know. It's just, I wish that they would have had more fun with it. Like if you're Disney and you're like, hey, we're making Cloak and Dagger for our kids channel, like, or our teen channel, but not Disney XD and not ABC. Let's do this Cloak and Dagger show for the teenagers. Like, I don't know if this is what I would have chosen to do. Like, I think you could have had a lot more fun with it. Yeah, sure, change the origin, make it a little lighter, but like at least have the show look like it's going to be fun and vibrant. Like this looks kind of like a trying to be darker than it really is show, and I don't think that that's going to go well.
I kind of got a like just in the color palette, I got a Teen Wolf vibe off it, which is a show Melissa liked quite a bit, and I know a lot of people in my shop liked it when it was out. So it could do very well. It could, and I just try to imagine seeing that Buffy pilot. We're gonna invoke Buffy with our 48-year-old eyes. I don't know how I would have felt about it back then. I probably still liked it because it was good. But
it's the writing though that makes it good.
Yeah. I remember when Buffy first came out, and some of my older friends that I used to work with, who were genre people, and they were like, "Wow, that was crap," and we were talking about it the next day, and I was like, well, I kind of liked it,
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah, it definitely.
So, and about Teen Wolf, I just want to throw this out there. Teen Wolf actually had some pretty good writing. I actually interviewed my friend Luke on the podcast a while ago. So if you guys go into the archives, there's a 2-part interview with my friend Luke. It's weird audio because we were just in my room doing an interview, but he wrote on season 2 of Teen Wolf, and he talked a little bit about that process. And I think that that's what I'm worried about with Cloak and Dagger, is it doesn't look like the creatives know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem with the clip we saw. It's a lot of like, hey, we're drinking at a party, and then all of a sudden there's some action stuff, and it just looks like it's ill-conceived. I think I would have gone one of either direction, either go really dark or not really dark, but go dark with it and leave out some of the silly stuff, or go silly with it and leave out some of the darker stuff.
By the way, I'll put a link to that both parts of the interview in the description once this turns into a video. So there you
Yeah, VB says, "Don't the teens have enough?"
Yeah.
I agree.
go. Right? Those damn teens. We will be getting to a show. I mean, we could
Yes.
talk about it briefly.
Well, I'm going to talk about now. Our new trailer for Star Wars Rebels dropped today for the second half of the very last season 4, and Gary just watched it.
I did
right before we came on here.
That's why it took so long. Sorry.
Yeah, and I really liked it. As I was telling some of the guys here in the chat, yes, it was one of those load in the pants kind of. Yes, that's awesome. That's what Star Wars is supposed to be about. For me, anyway. I don't know how you guys felt.
I agree. This is the best thing Star Wars that's coming out of this IP. I guess that's the thing now. IP. This intellect, because Star Wars is now just an IP, in my opinion. It's just a regular IP. It's not like crap. It's just a regular thing now. It used to be special. It's not anymore. Not for me. But if they had gone this route with the Rebels, like in the movies, where like to me, the movies is the only thing that really counts. I mean, it's nice to have a good, cartoon type show. If they had a live action TV show running, that'd probably count for me too. But I'm not really into like extended universe and video games and a lot of stuff. I want the movies to be the main thing because that's where they came from. So, but like, yeah, that trailer was awesome. It was great. I can't wait to see it. I can't.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I wish that they could do something like a live action version of Rebels on TV. Like, wouldn't that be like an amazing show?
Yeah, I would love Filoni to actually do some live action Star Wars stuff for TV, and it would be awesome.
Okay, so the thing about Star Wars is capturing the like themes, right? And like Star Wars Rebels is like a family, like Firefly was pretty much like could have been a Star Wars-y show, right? And Rebels, it's like this like family that's not really family on a ship while this rebellion is going on. Is just a great way to have like really great characters live in this universe.
Well,
and I don't know why they can't just
if you realize all the characters in Rebels have all been torn away or had their family die in some way, and they're all banded together to kind of be that surrogate family is what this is. And that's where they get the family friendly kind of vibe from it, even though it's some dark material, at the same time.
Totally. Really, really dark material. Yeah. It's handled in like the one thing that I can say that you have to get past for something like Rebels. Like I can't sit down with my wife and watch Rebels because like it is very like sarcastic. It is made for for kids with their parents to watch with them. And so, there's still a lot of like sarcastic things and like, 22-minute episodes, like things that kind of bring it down. But that's why I wish we could get like a slightly amped up live action version of Rebels on like HBO, on like not HBO, but like on a cable network somewhere along the
or
way.
even Netflix or Amazon or something like that, just
whatever the Netflix streaming service is, launch with a Star Wars show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Venture Brothers is the only thing I can watch. 22 like Star Wars Rebels, I have to wait till like 3 or 4 build up so I can watch like an hour of it.
And Venture Brothers is made for adults. I mean, it's not a kid's show. But like kids can watch it, but it's made for adults.
So what they're doing with the last 6 episodes or so here is they're showing them 2 episodes at a time. So there's 2 episodes the 9th, then there's going to be a break until the 24th, I think is what it was, and then they're going to show another 2 episodes, and then the final 2 episodes are in March, the beginning of March. So it's basically one after the other. The last
that's smart. That's really smart because that gets around that little bit of downside, and then once it goes into syndication, they can air them however they want, and they have these 30-minute episodes that they can place. Smart.
Yeah, and this is it, right?
This is the final season.
So what are they doing next?
I don't know, because that's what everyone's been asking Dave Filoni is like, dude, what are you doing next? Because we want to, if you're working with Star Wars, we want to see it. Because nothing else good is coming out of that.
Yeah, and there's still this rumored Star Wars show out there in the ether. It's not the same
that J.J. Abrams is working on.
Yeah, exactly. But it's out there. I have not heard though. So like Disney is a place I get some news out of, internal news out of, and I have not heard one peep about anything that's going on with it. And it seems to me like it's not a focus right now with a lot of the Marvel stuff that they have going on. And so I think that says something. I think that says something. Although the main reason there's such a focus on Marvel is that the Star Wars people within Disney have operated at a lower budget and more amicably with Disney than Marvel has so far. So it might just be like an out of sight, out of mind thing.
Awesome. Darth Barbecue asks, has Disney said what the new Star Wars live action show will be focused on? It's long been rumored it's going to take place in between the Clone Wars and New Hope, and it was rumored to be like Star Wars Underground. It was going to be about like bounty hunters and stuff. That
would be awesome.
Which would be cool. Which would totally be cool. And according to Dennis has mentioned this many times on our podcast that they have like 50 episodes written.
Whoa!
Like fully written episodes.
Arturo, dude, thank you,
Arturo. Yeah. He just dropped $20 on us.
You're the man.
You're the man. You want to ask us a question, Arturo?
Yeah, about what Disney's killing next.
Yeah, I can't say the word, but we can say Disney is
fracking.
No, fracking. No, fracking. I would love to see. I know, like Lucas, when he had it, when he was shopping around, you had to commit to 100 episodes, which was insane.
Yeah,
and it was like supposed to be like 10 to 15 episode seasons, so we're talking like 6 years of and there's nobody, not even George. That tells you how bad it was, because if he'd have come up with like, hey, 3 seasons, I think somebody would have bit. So for every network to say no to him to a Star Wars TV
show,
he must have been asking for way too much. And that's the thing about Lucas, that I don't crap on him all the time. I there's things I like about him, there's things I don't, but he is effing greedy for a billionaire, and he is like, there's no reason for him to ask for jam people up for that much money. I can understand him going, I want full creative control. That's what I like. I would understand him strong arming for that. Okay, this is his baby. Like, I won't let anybody, like, I'm the only one in control of this, but like, just to jam him up for especially like right off the prequels, he was asking for this. That was a lot to ask. So, and I think he got really pissed about that too, and just from inside sources, like, he's a prickly dude. Like, he gets offended easy. He keeps his friends very close. He gets when he's over somebody, he is over somebody. Talk to Marsha Lucas. Yeah. Who Mark Hamill has said, like, she's like the magic behind the original trilogy. Like, she did a lot of the editing in that, and her and Michael Kahn. And
Dennis, do you want to read Arturo's question for us?
Yeah, I was just going to say,
Arturo super chat.
Yeah, Arturo asked here, do you think there will be a Carnage appearance in the Venom movie? Yes, I know that Cletus or Cassidy has been cast. We're actually going to get to some Venom news in a little bit here as well.
Well, let's do it now.
So Venom is actually filming in San Francisco right now. And Gary actually knows a couple locations. They're outside his wife's salon that they're going to be filming at. And rumor is that Tom Holland is going to be making an appearance in these movies as Spider-Man. So they are going to be connected to the MCU.
Yeah, and that's great. This completely flips my perspective on this movie. I cannot wait for this movie now, because it's Tom Hardy and it counts. And like, they didn't have to do much. They could just have Peter Parker walk on the screen and go, "Hey Venom, you suck," whatever, and then that's it, and they're going to change the origin. They're going to mix it in with Planet of the Symbiotes, a story, and Lethal Protector, both stories I like. I am a Venom fan because I was a Spider-Man fan. Yeah, no, I'm told that I was so excited to hear that. I was like, and I'm glad they kept it secret for a while. I think that's smart. And I think Marvel just changed its mind. I think Kevin Feige was originally no, and then they brought Tom Hardy in and showed Sony kind of showed them that, hey, we're serious about this. And I think Disney kind of went, okay, let's make it part of the universe. Screw it. Why not?
Yeah.
You know? That's
Yeah,
what the
and
fans want.
For the Carnage question, I think that I we're gonna see, we already know we're gonna see his alter, who Carnage is before he becomes Carnage. But I would say that they have to be careful in not making the Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2 problems of packing the movie with too much
characters. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they've learned. I hope to think that they've learned that lesson. And if we do get him, he's not going to be like a main focus. It'll be more Easter eggy, cameo-y than, and then maybe in the sequel, like Ghost World said, we'll get a little bit more Carnage in there. Because I think Venom versus Carnage is a good thing to tease rather than a good thing to lead with.
Yeah, because I think they're going more with the good Venom in this one than they are the evil Venom that we've known.
Which is
we
a weird
started
choice,
off with. Yeah,
right. Like that's a strange choice.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense because I mean, the whole San Francisco aspect was part of the comics where Venom goes to San Francisco and becomes like a superhero kind of thing. So that fits, and
it's scary to me though that you have a redemption arc of like we didn't see the bad part that he's like I guess that we kind of got that with like Scarlet with Black Widow and the Avengers where they talk about her ledger, and now maybe we'll see that, I don't know, but like going in Venom, who's like known mostly for being a villain, right, in people's minds, and starting after that point or making it so that he's good first, both seem like weird decisions.
I would have focused the movie on just his story, on like him being bad and then turning it good. And it'd be hard to tell that in 2 hours, but that's what I would do, and you can still base it on Lethal Protector, like the last 10 minutes, just have him turn at the, and have him start out like really bad. And still his turning is not good enough. So that sets him on a path to go like, oh, I still got to do more. And he's still Venom about things, and that was always the thing. He's a lot like Wolverine. He's never really good.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Arturo, I'm going to kind of modify Arturo's next question. Do we think that the cameo of Tom Holland is going to be him teaming up with Spider-Man or fighting against Spider-Man?
I think he's just showing up.
Yeah, I think he's just going to show up, honestly.
Oh, you don't think it's going to be a battle at all? Because they could do a CG battle.
No, supposedly Tom Holland was on set for like a day or two. That was it.
Yeah, but you can ADR and CG like the whole thing.
True, but I don't think it's that kind of thing. I think he's just there for a little bit and for a little cameo, because they even said cameo is what I heard.
Okay.
That's what I heard too.
Interesting.
And Jody, yes, you were right. You did hear me right. It is in San Francisco. It is filming. It's under the working title Antidote. Get it? Venom Antidote.
Nice.
And and it was like one shot was right down the street from my wife's old salon location, and one shot was near her new location. And just to answer a question real quick from wait, who asked that question now? Ghost World. I read Mark Hamill's Black Pearl many years ago. I did not. It was okay. I read it because it was Mark Hamill. I have it. It's downstairs.
Is it like a Zorro? Is it like a Batman type story? Like, what's the tone? Like, I've only seen the cover. Like, what's the tone of the story?
It's a very 90s superhero-y thing. So,
like Image Comics type thing.
Not like bad art or anything. He was actually trying. If I was getting a Neil Gaiman vibe off him a little bit, but with But dude, that was a long time ago. Like I haven't read that in like 20 years or something like that. So I can't remember a whole lot from it, to be honest with you. Did not make quite the impression, but it's had Mark Hamill's name on it. So I pulled it off the rack at On Comic Ground in San Diego. That's where I bought it.
That's awesome.
So our final trailer that we had is a big one for us. It is Ash versus Evil Dead season 3.
Yes.
And we get introduced to Ash's daughter.
So they went with the daughter thing. Anything. So the whole plot thing that made that one creator leave, who I can't remember his name now, because they wanted Kelly originally to be Ash's daughter, which wouldn't have worked. I agree. So Tappert is the one who got in a fight with the other guy who co-created one of John's shows. I forgot his name. No, they were both good. And he made the show more funny. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name, but he left. He's gone, so it doesn't matter. So they went with the Ash daughter thing anyway. I thought that's kind of funny, but they made it somebody different. The joke about it is like he doesn't remember the mom, which is funny in the trailer. It looks great. It looks just as gory, and this show is so wonderful, and I don't want it to be canceled. And and we're gonna get to news later on, like what Dennis and I have been wondering, like why Stars is being so freaking weird with their shows, even with this Counterpart. You know, can they premiere it like in December, and then they're gonna premiere it like late, like they wait a month to that's a weird decision. I can understand like putting out a premiere a couple weeks early, but an entire month, that's bizarre. But no, Stars has been doing some weird stuff, but we found out why. And it actually makes sense. So Ash might not be dead. That's what I'm getting out of this. Like,
no, it might actually get new life, and it might move into bigger pants.
Oh yeah. See, so I guess it's definitely a good news, bad news, but we'll get to that. But Ash, we will be podcasting the hell out of the show, and yeah, it's weird because the show's only half an hour, and Dennis and I will do an hour podcast on it afterwards.
Craig De Gregorio is his name.
Thank you. And he was good. He was the guy who was at the end of every episode. They did a 5 to 10 minute, like they showed you like their a little gore effects, how they came up with that, the gore thing of the week, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And all the buckets of blood they go through.
Literally buckets. Literally.
And just to totally nerd out, it looks like one of the funnest sets ever to be on. Like if I wanted to be on a set, I would want to be on the set of this TV show.
Oh yeah.
It looks like it's so much fun. And
the silver lining is if it does go away, then we have a pretty high probability that we'll get Bruce Campbell on Gifted, right? Working with Matt Nix again and the guys. So like, there's always that silver lining hanging over.
I would not want to give a Ash for Gifted.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That, like at least that would free him up to I don't know, what X-Men would Bruce Campbell play?
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know any of them. He'd be so funny.
So speaking of renewals, The Tick has been renewed at Amazon for season 2.
He'd be a good Jamie Madrox.
Oh, he would be.
Oh yeah, he would be. Yeah. That's actually going to be in jeopardy now with what's his name, James Franco, and the whole sexual allegation thing too. Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
There's going to be nobody left in Hollywood.
I know. At this point.
No. So when does Ash premiere? Before we get on The Tick, Ash premieres the
February 25th.
February 25th on that's a Sunday. So if you have Amazon Stars, you can actually watch it if you're on the West Coast. It's midnight on the East Coast and 9:00 on the West Coast on Saturday.
Yep.
So, and that's when we podcast about it. So we
afterwards.
Yeah, we podcast actually Saturday. So I cannot wait. And then like another show that's just as good is coming out like the same weekend, the same freaking weekend.
Yes, it is. What show is that?
The Tick.
That's right. The Tick is coming out the second half of the Tick, and for season 1, and definitely looking forward to that to see how things are going because they're going to be putting together their own super team.
That's awesome,
and it's going to be a lot of fun. Amazon, gives, but they also take.
Well, and real quick on The Tick,
sure, yeah,
it got a season 2 as well.
That's what
they greenlit a season 2. So like we're gonna get the second half on the 23rd. We got the super team coming, and like this is you can't just run by this, Dennis. This is the best superhero adaptation, period.
Yeah, no, I just
out there right now, and and with the Terror coming back, I cannot wait for this. Like, and we're gonna podcast every single one. That's the rare occasion where they drop all the episodes. and we're gonna podcast each individual one over the course of probably 2 weeks. We'll put the times out for that one, but yeah, we can't just blow by the tick, man.
No, I didn't.
We love the
I
tick.
thought we, you know.
Don't get all defensive. Keep going.
Okay. So, as I said, as Amazon giveth, they also taketh away. And Jean-Claude Van Johnson, unfortunately, has been canceled.
Yes, it has.
I mean, that was like a conceptually funny thing that probably didn't have legs anyway, right? Like, or do you think it could have kept going?
It could have kept going the way it ended. It was very intriguing, and it was going to go really crazy after that. And I'm kind of disappointed that we're not going to. Hopefully, we get to.
Nobody was watching the show.
Nobody was watching.
Apparently, Jody was, because he said no.
Yeah. They just the ratings were, I think it was I think there was like maybe 200,000 people watching the show.
Yeah.
It was like really low.
Jody was my hooked on it, by the way. That's why Jody was.
I know, it was a great show. I would watch a second season for sure. And maybe it's one of those ones that will get a second life, like if it goes in when people give it more time. It was just it was on Amazon. It's right there for everybody to look at, and maybe it's something, I don't know. Remember, okay, I always loved when Austin Powers came out, the first movie, it bombed. It bombed like crazy in the theater, and it was the DVD sales. It was the first movie that not a VHS, but with DVD, that got a sequel off DVD sales, because that thing sold so many freaking DVDs and got rented, and it, like, the word of mouth on that came out afterwards. So when its actual life in the theater, it was a dud. So maybe something like that could happen. You never know.
You know how we've been talking about critic versus audience scores?
Mm-hmm.
Jean-Claude Van Johnson has a critic score of 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the average audience score is 98%. Like,
wow.
That is, I mean, we're seeing more and more of this. It's starting to become a thing where the critics are misreading the audience, in different ways. Either they're, they're like the critic, the paper or outlet is owned by the company that's distributing the content, so they give it a favorable or unfavorable based on that, right? And I feel like we're getting to a point where, like, the critic response isn't indicative. Like, I can't read a review now and trust that it's at all accurate as far as like the enjoyment of a show is going to be. Like, usually you can be like, oh, well, they're saying that those are the things they don't like, but I don't mind those things, so I may like it anyway. I don't just take it at face value, but you could read reviews that sound like a completely different show sometimes now. And it's crazy.
Critics are part of the community now. They were always ostracized. Actors hated critics, writers hated critics, and critics hated them because they were usually failed writers and stuff like that. There used to be a perfect divide of hatred between those two, so you actually got some credibility. What's happened now, very cleverly on the studio's part, is they've invited them into the fold. You're all, hey, you're one of us now. You're one of us. So now they don't have to payola. You give them a free fucking movie. You let them hang out with your movie star for a little while, or they're friends with Facebook. That's why. Well, with comic books, the greatest example is a guy who drew or a comic creator would be the last person I would ask about selling a comic book. They would be the last person I would because they know about creating the comic book, but they don't know dick about the sales of it and retailing of it and marketing of it. They'd be the last person in the world. So the last person in the world I'd ask about, like, if a movie's good or not, is an actor who played in it, or a guy, now a critic, who is now a friend with that actor or a friend with them on Facebook, and they want access, and it's all about that access. So it's almost institutionalized lack of criticism. They want to be part of the tribe, part of the group. And like our boy Chris Ortiz is a great example. He's actually been a podcaster on this. He used to, I mean, he's always been a kind of a like everything, but he used to have harsh opinions on this, like this suck. He loves everything now. Why? Because he works in the industry. It makes sense. I would too. I want to keep my job, for one. And if you talk shit about one thing, and now if it gets out, because like if you just say one bad thing on Facebook about a movie, that could cost you a job.
Yep.
So yeah, that's why
you're not a team player.
Sometimes I think it's even subtler than that. Like, sometimes I think that you just like when you've been around it, you realize the compromises that are made to get to a certain point, and you just start being okay with those. Like
Yep.
you look at a project and you're like, well, it's not the choice I would have made, but like I understand why they did that. And like it's like, no, it was not like that's not good. Like it wasn't good. I didn't enjoy it. Like that's what it should come down to, in my opinion. But I think people rationalize a lot of things when they've seen kind of how it works, and they can kind of say like, well, given the environment, I think they did a pretty good job. But it's just like, well, fuck, like that doesn't mean anything, you know?
No, it doesn't.
Sorry.
It sounds empathetic. There
You
go.
get the swear jar. Well, you also did one too. So
The infant. I said dick. I didn't say
No,
the
no.
F word.
no, you said the F word early on.
When?
Right
Mark
when you're
the time.
It's
Mark
on
the
there.
time.
You'll hear it.
Oh, I know. I re-listened all. If I did, I will put a quarter in there. I said
Venmo you.
F. I didn't say the actual F word though. Is that
You
what
did.
you're talking about?
I said swear. I said swear jar, but you were talking at the time.
I wonder if Viking B, we'll have to call Viking, you know,
Yeah, we're just
woman.
Viking B. I don't feel.
Yeah, I've been saying VB.
VB is good. VB is
So,
good.
because I owe you a few more for that one.
No,
but I don't
so-
want to like censor her name, you know, like
I'm trying not to. I'm just
Dar.
or you can
I'm
just
just,
say
I'm,
Viking.
okay, tonight I'm trying to like if
No,
we
I
can
know.
make it through one GD episode without cussing. I'm trying to run an experiment because they're actually running a survey for us creators to submit a video to make my case going, stop demonetizing this stuff because we're not talking about anything controversial. We're not even cussing, so I can't say that yet.
Right.
But once we make it through one, I'll be able to submit that video. Someday. But
one day.
but
That's the goal.
back to that thing. Yeah, it's that we've mentioned this so much. It's the credibility is gone with creators, and not that you should come to us, but you should. You really should, because we haven't sold out yet. Okay, we will, but right now we're going to be completely honest about stuff.
We're accepting the payola. They just haven't come around to our
They haven't
doors
come
yet.
around us yet. Maybe later.
Arturo came with a good compromise. Viking Beach.
Yeah, Viking Beach.
Viking Beach. Oh, there you go. Very good. Thank you, Arturo. We appreciate your contribution.
That's what you are now known as, Viking. I'm sorry, it's Viking Beach.
Oh my god. Okay, so we gotta just get through the news so we can get to those comments.
Yeah, let's get through the news. So Mary Elizabeth Winstead is going to star opposite Will Smith in Gemini Man. And Gemini Man is about Will Smith, who is an aged assassin who is being hunted down by his younger clone.
Ooh,
Huh.
Interesting.
Or not.
Like, it's like, how are they gonna do that?
before?
Because, well, I guess if they get like a Fresh Prince looking Will Smith, because like he doesn't look super old. Although I'm old, so like older guys don't. I don't know.
Yeah, he looks a lot different than he did when he was younger. So,
Well, yeah, he was just like a skinny. He was just really skinny. You get that dad bod going. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that sounds interesting. It's by Anonymous Content, who is slowly becoming our favorite production house, or whatever you want to call them. Like, everything they make seems to be top notch.
Well, speaking of Anonymous Content, they have a new show that's coming on at Freeform that they're developing called Logs, which is short for Augmented Humans. And so there's a divide between augmented humans and non-augmented humans. Basically,
Augmented.
Augmented. Sorry.
There
augmented. You go. Why am I saying augmented? It's late, and that's what's for me.
I would have let one go, but when you said it 3 times,
Isn't that an antibiotic?
Yeah. It's the one emphasis on the wrong syllable.
It's funny because like I haven't been a huge fan of their stuff yet, because it's like I like teenage girl shows, and now it looks like they may make a show for teenage girls, and hey, I can get on board with the Anonymous Content at that point, so yay for me. I don't know if you guys are gonna like it, but it's
Yeah, I can't see me firing up Freeform very much. I will for Cloak and Dagger. I will, because it's a superhero show, so I will try it. I don't know. Maybe they're changing their ways. I'll try everything once. Well, almost everything.
If they hadn't made the weird move to not air New Warriors, I I would feel like they're
'Cause that
making a
show's
lot of really
dead.
good. Yeah, it was weird. Like I feel like they've been making a lot of good decisions, like partnering with anonymous content, doing Cloak and Dagger, doing like more Marvel content. Like it all seemed like it was on the right track. But it's weird because it seems like with all of those good choices, there's like it's like a double. Every single one of them is a double-edged sword. Like New Warriors goes away, and then Cloak and Dagger, you know, they release the footage and it looks like an episode of The Fosters, and then like you know. And then we get this, and it's like, well, hopefully this partnership works out. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see Oggs like go to a different network down the road.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think Freeform's just going to fold once the digital network gets going, and they're just going to
Yeah.
fold everything into that, and they're just going to shut it down. I mean, because that's one less thing they got to charge a cable company for, and I guess they got to pay licensing fees too to the FCC and all this stuff. If you start making streaming networks, dude, look, they're going to save so much money on just like, you know, the government will still regulate the streaming service, but it's not as bad as TV. So yeah, that'll, I mean, you know more than us, John, about the Disney streaming service. So
I think that the part of the Fox deal was to get more airtime, not less, right? So they are going the streaming way, but they're also investing in having more of their channels on your cable subscription, right? Like all those Fox channels are now Disney channels. So I think that they're, you know, it's going to be a balance. I think that they're going to keep Freeform as young as possible, but you know, it'll stay there. It just won't be content we care about. Like that's the stuff that'll move over to the streaming.
And that gives them leverage over the cable companies, but it looks like the cable companies are getting into this. Is things are getting murky. We'll get to that.
Distributors are becoming the creators. It's weird.
Speaking of getting murky, whoa, and I just dropped my notes. Lionsgate. And the reason why all the weirdness is going on over at Stars is that Lionsgate is getting ready to merge with Amazon, Verizon, and Viacom CBS.
This is, to me, the biggest story. This is so crazy because Verizon and Amazon on their own are like these gigantic companies that include so many things: infrastructure, shipping warehouses, like everything, right? And then you've got these content creators like Lionsgate and Viacom who control, you know, the pocketbooks, the distribution, the marketing, the you know, funding of all, you know, all these licenses that they've accumulated, right? And now you're merging these things like Time Warner did. Like they were the first one to kind of do this. And since we have all of these big companies springing up, like Disney owning everything, Time Warner owning everything, now all the like big ones that aren't one big conglomeration have to join together. So that's where you get Verizon, who needs content, Amazon, who needs infrastructure, content creators who need distribution. They're all coming together now into this big thing to compete with the Time Warners and the Disneys of the world, right? And that's why you see a deal like that happening, which is so much scarier to me than like Disney buying a few more channels and some more properties. Like this is like serious infrastructure, cell phone towers, broadband. Like this is, you know, Amazon's ability to market things to a large customer base and get product in the hand of people. Like this is a scary, big merger proposition, like a world-changing merger, you know, possibility.
Would
and
you
like,
say it's possibly evil?
Yeah, I would say that it's definitely scary.
This is like, East India Company kind of big. It's I don't know. Amazon's freaked everybody out. That's pretty clear. And Netflix too, but Netflix is going to run out of money someday. They're living on borrowed time.
They need to merge with somebody at this point.
They do. And Apple, I think that Apple and Disney deal, man, remember that was rumored earlier in the year.
Disney, Netflix looks like an interesting one right now.
Yep. And they'll be like, it'll go back to 3 networks again. Remember back in the day?
Oh, yeah, the big 3.
It'll just be a big 3, and it'll just be what Apple and, you know, CBS and Disney or whatever.
And it'll be streaming, and they'll charge us for the.
And the first thing they'll do is break all the unions in Hollywood, and they'll move a lot of that stuff up here. I mean, Hollywood is moving north, and it's going to be real interesting. But in the meantime, it's kind of a golden age of television. So, I'm enjoying it now.
So much stuff being pumped out now. So much stuff. We were even talking about it. We talk about it all the time. It's like, how are we going to cover all this stuff?
How many scripted shows? It was in the hundreds.
It's in the hundreds.
It's
Yeah,
like the most ever made. So,
yeah.
But you know what? And maybe I'm just picky, but I was going through. We didn't have much to cover in February, frankly. So I was talking to the guys. I'm like, dude, I don't know what we're going to cover, and And then you brought up a show that kind of saved our butt, because we almost had to cover a Flash. I was like, we might have to do a CW show. I don't know. I think, okay, it's not the way I hate the CW shows, but there's a lot of them. The problem is they're like 22 episode seasons. I don't know if I can commit to something like that. Maybe Legends of Tomorrow might be something I could commit to. Especially when it's got Constantine on it. I think we should cover those for sure. But yeah, it came really close. We almost did Black Lightning. We almost did Flash, but thankfully a good show came along. And,
one of the 487 scripted series.
Yes, that I totally missed. And Dennis brought it up, and I guess it premiered December 10th.
Yeah, we knew that the whole series was supposed to come out starting this month, but for some reason they decided to show the first episode early on in December, and just the first episode, just kind of like a teaser. And Starz does this every now and then. It was just really weird. But the show that we're talking about is called Counterpart, with Jk Simmons, and it's about alternate realities, or two alternate realities, I should say, that have a focal point. Think of Fringe, where they had the Ellis Island being the point that you could cross over between the two different realities. That's where we're getting at.
And really good. It's really, really good show. I watched it right before we started this podcast because we were debating on just covering it on this podcast. We're actually going to do a separate one because it's that good. We're going to cover the show. If you guys haven't seen it, go and see it. It's got artistic style and it just oozes it. Okay. It's very 1984, a lot of analogs, spooling tapes, and everything's like plain. So it's got a Brazil 1984 Fringe vibe, and you feel like they're going to finish the story because J.J. Abrams not involved. So
exactly.
Honestly,
like it's scripted too.
The guy who created Justin Marks, I have never heard of him. But and Jk Simmons, I'm going to say J.K. Rowling. I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm
JK.
say it. But Jk Simmons, Melissa watched it with me, and no spoilers, but it was really good. She's into podcast. I'm in. Dennis saw it, and he's like, I'm in. And Melissa's all, for a show that doesn't have any hot guys, I really like it. So, it's got.
And, RoboBrain 10,000 says he just saw it too and said that Jk Simmons' performance was amazing, and I agree.
It's Orphan Blackish, but better. It's like John, you should check it out. Like, it's
alternate
really good.
Reality spy thriller. Yeah, I'm down. Sounds like something I could dig.
Yeah, and Olivia Williams plays his wife in it, who also is a Fringe alumni, by the way.
She is. Yeah. Melissa was like, "Where have we seen her?" And I had to look it up on IMDb. So. And then it's also got another band. There's a Banshee alumni too. The I can't remember his name, but the bad guy from Banshee is in it.
Yes, the Aryan dude.
Yes. Yeah, So Banshee was a good show, by the way.
Yeah, Banshee was
very
awesome.
good show. Yeah,
I still follow Hoon Lee, who played the transvestite hairdresser.
Yeah. You follow
I follow him on Twitter.
On Twitter. Wait, do you unfollow people when their show's over?
No, if they're not interesting, I'll unfollow them. Like,
you're one of those people. Once I follow somebody, unless they like come out and say something like crazy, like I eat babies, like that would probably be the one thing I would unfollow you for. But
I do I've done 2 audits of my Twitter feed ever. But yeah, I think there's reason.
No, if you're a political, I just don't follow people who politically tweet all day long on either side. It's like, I don't care.
It's like I love Guillermo del Toro, but honestly, following his Twitter feed is maddening. And so
Mark Ruffalo too is very difficult.
I don't follow Mark Ruffalo. Not yeah. I couldn't follow Joss Whedon either. So what's wrong with Guillermo del Toro's?
He just posts a lot of news stuff.
Yeah.
It just starts filling the page.
Just
where
go direct a movie.
Yeah.
You know, he's what that's the remember how pissed I used to get in the store. It's like these guys are late for Gail Simone. I'm gonna call her out right now. She would be late with books, but she would be on freaking Twitter at 3 a.m. It's like, come on, okay, get your book out, get your Birds of Prey out. We want to read it. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, speaking of I guess a DC character, I'm gonna throw in my little bit of news here. Is
Oh, yeah.
what do you guys think about Lindsay Lohan playing Batgirl?
In like an ironic hot mess Batgirl movie? I'm cool with that.
If Batgirl was like on drugs, yeah, no.
Isn't she supposed to be the barista that serves Barbara Gordon her latte in the morning or something like that? I see that.
Let me devil's advocate a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
So everybody loves a good redemption story, right? And I think this would be perfect. Actually, I know people are just no, and I honestly, it might be a looking thing, a very superficial looking thing, but that's the one thing that's very. Batgirl is this very cute, charming, kick-ass woman. All right, so I don't know. Maybe she turns around. Robert Downey Jr. His name was Mud at one point too, but he was on the upswing before Iron Man because of what's the name? The movie that Shane Black movie that came out right before
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Yeah, he was kind of on the upswing from Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I don't know. Maybe this is like their her Robert Downey Jr. moment.
If you're gonna go for looks and acting, if you want to do that, I would say Jane Levy from Suburbia or yeah, and also she was in the Evil Dead remake. She was the main character.
Oh yeah, she'd be good.
Yeah.
But I think Lindsay Lohan was a good actress at one point. Okay, she was funny.
When? Like, so Mean Girls, right? Like, I don't think we've seen an adult Lindsay Lohan in a role that's really been great, right? Whereas like Robert Downey Jr. always had like skills. He just had a mess going on in his personal life. Yeah. And she's kind of been exposed as somebody who like either has lost it or in the transition from like teen star to like adult star didn't really translate or something. But I don't think we've seen like a mature Lindsay Lohan role where she's been like good. So I kind of like the idea that exists and that this is the role for it, because like that would be fun. But I don't know. And like, I love seeing her tweet about it with the picture of herself next to the picture of Batgirl on Twitter. I'm sure people have seen those tweets. They're pretty funny. That I can get behind.
Got to give her credit for it. And honestly, she probably got screwed up by Hollywood. She probably had, with all the stuff coming out, she probably had to do some effed up things. And like a lot of child actors end up on drugs. I mean, like a disproportionate amount of child actors end up on drugs. There has to be a reason for that. Okay. Besides the fact that they're just there, because like drugs are freaking everywhere. Okay. And not everybody takes them. So,
and drugs are bad. Okay.
Drugs are bad. Okay. Okay. Which Batgirl would Lohan play? Barbara Gordon, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, hey, Johnny. Thank you.
What's up, man? Thank you. You got a question? If you got a question, just pop it in there. And guys, so yeah, Lindsay, I just threw it out there there's no way in hell that's going to happen. But if it did, bold move. You never know.
Johnny says
it could be good. It could.
Yeah. Johnny says, my 2 cents times 100. Lohan before the meltdown when she was cute would have worked, not now.
Yep. Hey, agreed. I was just trying to work around that a little bit for the conversation.
A little devil's advocate in there.
Little devil, I gotta play once in a while. So this is for John, because I kind of dumped this on him right beforehand, and I haven't read the book. I don't know when it's coming out. I just my YouTuber comic guys were mentioning it. Is Kitty Pryde proposed to Colossus?
And my reaction was, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so I feel so disconnected, because one of the things I thought was kind of great about Kitty Pryde was like after Colossus came back, she kind of dealt with that relationship and got closure, and then kind of moved on, and then like dated like Iceman, and then dated Star-Lord, and was with the Guardians of the Galaxy and got all amped up. And like that's when I stopped like reading Marvel for a while. But I liked the like Kitty Pryde that had kind of like become more than just like we knew her as like the young kid joining the X-Men, and then as like this romantic entanglement with Colossus. And I kind of liked when that stopped and we got to see like Kitty Pryde be a badass. So like I just feel like it's weird. Like it kind of came out of nowhere for me. I guess it's fine. Like they're good. I always liked them in the comics when that was a thing, but I liked it better when it wasn't. So and Kitty Pryde's one of those characters that I love a lot. So I'd prefer her to not be tied down to like a big Colossus lug. He's been fun in a lot of stuff, but you know, it's hard. You need a really good creative team to write Colossus well. And yeah, and she's a much freer, more interesting character for me. So I don't know. Yeah, like Ghost World. Yeah, post Astonishing X-Men Kitty Pryde. That's the Kitty Pryde I like. I wish they could keep it more that way, but it's a big soap opera. Eventually one of them will die, and then you know the other one will get with someone else and have a baby in the future that'll come back to the past to solve some sort of crime, and then resurrect the other one that died, that wasn't alive, that isn't even really their parent, because they thought that it was their parent and they wanted to find out if it was really like Kitty Pryde was really their mom before she died, and then it turned out she wasn't, and actually it was his greatest enemy in disguise. You know, like all that shit will happen. So I'm sure it's going to change.
Oh, definitely. I mean, how long will this marriage last? They'll get married, and then they've been slowly moving towards their own version of Rebirth, that being Marvel. They didn't totally, it looked like for a minute they were going to totally end the 616, and they did briefly, and then they rebooted it and kind of put all the Ultimate, but it looks like they're bringing the Ultimate Universe back. It looks like it's going back to basics. That'll probably take like a year. I'm not sure if the comic industry is going to survive. We talked about it in a previous podcast. There are 8 comic stores in California alone that have closed in the last calendar year. That is bad. There are still comic stores that are doing good. There's a lot of them, and there's a way to do good. And we talked about it last podcast, but I love Kitty Pryde. I've always loved Kitty Pryde. She's part of the X-Men run that I read, and I don't know, I'll read it. What the hell? And I like the fact she proposed to him.
That's cool.
I wish that was the thing when I was like younger, like girls coming up and asking us to go out. That would save me a lot of trouble. A lot of fuss, a lot of trouble, a lot of stressing, you know. Yeah, but that's cool. Well, my wife kind of did that, but nobody wants to hear that story. So
Johnny actually asked a question here.
Sure.
He says, where do you guys see the MCU going after the Avengers movies are over?
I think X-Men, that's part of this whole thing. I mean, I don't think the X-Men was the reason Disney bought Fox, but I think that extends their universe. And I talked about this a long time ago. I think this rights thing is perfect for them, because once the Avengers thing is burned out, and remember when it's before the Avengers started, that wasn't their A-list guys. That was
no.
Iron Man was B. The Thor was B-list. The amount of subscribers I had in my store for Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man were about 7 or 8 each. Okay, when I opened the store in 2003. When I sold the store in 2013, I had 100 Iron Man subscribers, 100 Thor subscribers, 100 Captain America subscribers, and that was all from the movies. So if people say the movies didn't have an impact on the comic, that's complete BS. But they also wrote better stories and stuff. But they're better, you know, they can now extend it with the X-Men all day long. As long as they do different stuff, they can't do a Dark Phoenix, which is fine. There's actually so many X-Men stories they can do that you know, Fox just kept doing the mutants on the run and being persecuted by the purifiers and crap. They can take them to space. Like just bring in the Brood. Crap, you own aliens, make the Brood aliens. X-Men versus aliens. Go for it, you know. Hulk versus Predator. No.
Starjammers.
Starjammers.
Yeah, Starjammers. House of M, I think House of M is a really great like Avengers X-Men crossover story you can tell in the movies or TV, whatever you like. I think that I think that the direction the MCU is going to go is they're going to it's going to expand, like it's going to bloat out. And I think that it's going to be the reason it's going to blow it out is to have spaces to bring X-Men and Guardians. And like, I think they're going to start concentrating on more than just like, we're going to get a Young Avengers show. I think we're going to start getting more of that stuff. The new generation of superhero, they're going to retire this is a good point for them to say like, okay, now we're at a point where Captain America, Iron Man, these are the legends of the MCU. These are like they're whispered about guys. They're older, and now this new generation wants to be them. These X-Men are coming about. The mutants are popping up, and they all want to like emulate these superheroes that have had this vast impact on the world. And I think that it's going to expand to allow groups to kind of come out of the woodwork that are going to emulate what they saw in the Avengers, which will make the Sokovia Accords and the Mutant Registration Act more prevalent in the storytelling because there's so many more people out there being vigilantes. So I think it's just going to keep getting bigger.
I think so too. I don't think there's going to be a phase 4 though. They haven't come out and said there's going to be a phase 4. They've always alluded to it, but I think it's going to be way more open, and they're going to kind of they got to find their identity again because they're going to be losing probably Thor, Iron Man, and Cap. So your main guy is going to be Spider-Man. You don't own him outright. Who are you going to center everything around? Doctor Strange, maybe?
Did Thor Ragnarok hint at the fact that Thor is going to be gone? Because he's so cheap, and he'd be so stupid. He
just came out and said yesterday he's done after Avengers 4.
Why would
he didn't say he was done?
No, he
didn't say he was done. He said contractually he's done. His contract is up.
Right.
They haven't renewed. That's all.
He had a hard time getting them to pay him more than he's making like nothing compared to the other big name.
That's true. But I think you can get more movies out of him. But here's the problem with him and Chris Evans. Both of them have to work out like madmen for their jobs, and that gets tiring. Let's
be fair though. For any role that Chris Hemsworth is getting cast in, he's got to work out like a madman. It's not like this is that's why he gets hired. Is to look
I don't think
like
he's got to be Thor buff though. He's good looking enough.
That's
true. You got that extra 30 pounds he's carrying around. That is hard work to put on and stay on.
You're right.
And the older you get, the harder that shit gets. Trust me.
Swear jar
right there. Swear jar. That's all right. I probably prepaid earlier. So I think. He'll probably show up like Robert Downey Jr. Like he'll sign a contract or he'll like weave in and out of movies, but he won't do his own. I can see that happening. Yeah, and it definitely sounds contracty to me. Yeah, but I don't think Chris Evans is coming back. So who are you going to center your out of what they have right now? Who would you center the Marvels? Okay, take away Cap, Iron Man, and Thor. Who would you center the MCU around?
Mark Ruffalo. Scarlett Johansson, Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, it's tough.
They're doing a Black Widow movie. They already have that, and she's supposedly getting paid.
No, it's Doctor Strange. It's Benedict Cumberbatch. I think Cumberbatch. I always say Patch.
Honestly, if they could get all the rights back to it, I would say Mark Ruffalo's Hulk.
Yeah, that's good too. I think the Hulk, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Black Widow. They're going to bring in Captain Marvel. I think that's probably a pretty good core. Oh, and Spider-Man. Yeah, Tom Holland, Spider-Man. I think that's a good core.
As RoboBrain 10,000 said, we forgot all about the Guardians.
Yeah, and you've got Guardians out there. I mean, I don't think that they're ever going to be the Avengers, right? Like they're a sidecar.
No, the rumor is that Guardians 3 got pushed back to 2020.
Whoa, that's a mistake.
Yeah, there's something weird going on with James Gunn right now.
No, he actually just finished the first draft of the script.
No, but they pushed it back because of the X-Men stuff. So he can write all the drafts he wants. That's what I heard. Is it true or not? I don't know. But I heard that got pushed back. And I don't know what's going on. I would not be surprised to answer very long answer to your question. It's usually at times like this where like Kevin Feige, somebody like that would leave. or get promoted. He could very well be the Disney's next Disney CEO. That's what I predict. Because Iger's leaving in a year. So if Feige goes just to CEO, that will still affect the Marvel Cinematic Universe badly, I think. Depending on who takes over. But he's like one of a kind. He's like a unicorn. That guy's so good at what he does. Like every movie, I'm sure he's been offered so many deals to leave and come run our universe and everything, but it's like it wouldn't work because like he's just a Marvel fanboy and he's been learned under Avi Arad forever, and that guy at his time was the best.
Yep.
And 10 years ago he was the best, and he came from those cartoons. He came from those 90s cartoons. That's what he produced, and he came from Toy Biz.
It wasn't 10 years ago, it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was 20 years ago. And he's under the Perlmutter regime. That was his old boss. And when a toy company owned Marvel, and that toy company was wonderful. I was such a fan of Toy Biz. I loved everything they did. So I don't know. I don't think it'll center around Captain Marvel. I think they'll maybe try to center it around Black Panther, but that Black Panther needs to have, I don't know, Tony Stark is the lead, right? Does everybody still agree?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like Chris Evans is kind of edged up and become like a better captain I ever thought he could be.
See, I would have said if you lose Tony Stark, you replace him with Doctor Strange. If you lose Chris Evans, you replace him with Chris Hemsworth. And I think that, you could get away with that. I think it's a downgrade, but I think you can get away with that. Now that they've added in like a Black Panther and Brie Larson, as Captain Marvel, and you've got Scarlett Johansson, who seems to have a re-energized vigor in the role. She's reinvigorated in playing this role for a long period of time. I think you've got a pretty good core of actors there to keep going for another long while.
Agreed. I think so. I'm excited if they if they make that Black Widow movie we talked about last week, like rated R, like a hard R spy movie. I think that would be really fun.
That'd be badass.
But they're not going to do that.
So speaking of ensemble TV shows, this is our last little bit of news. We have casting announcements from The Boys. That's over at Amazon. And we already had Aaron Moriarty as Starlight. Now we have Anthony Starr as Homelander. Dominique McElligott is her name, is Queen Mauve. Jesse Usher is A-Train. Chase Crawford is the Deep. And Nathan Mitchell is Black Noir. And just so you know, Eric Kripke, the guy who did Timeless and Supernatural, he's actually working on The Boys now. And Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen are set to direct.
Everything about that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Particularly Chase Crawford. Did you guys know that Chase Crawford is best friends with Sebastian Stan, who plays
Bucky Barnes?
Yeah. So I feel like he's been itching for this kind of superhero role, and to see him step into like the really effed up Aquaman of the team is going to be fun. So I'm excited about every single piece of that casting. That show, The Boys, is that comic that is not in the genre that I typically enjoy, but that I really, really liked. I think that if they nail the tone and the sense of humor, that's just a hit show for Amazon. I hope that they...
And that's another Derek Robertson comic.
Co-creator with Garth Ennis. Unfortunately, he didn't finish the entire book, but he drew all the covers. He was in on the character design, and he's going to be involved in this in one way or another. I know that. And we'll have him on talking about it very, very soon. We got to wait for Happy to finish up, but then he'll be on. But I can't wait. When's this supposed to come out? 2019?
I think 2019, yes.
Yeah. Oh God, I can't wait. Amazon is just slowly kicking so much ass. I cannot wait. And if you guys haven't read the first 4 graphic novels on that are just genius. just pure genius. The story gets a little bit long. It's got a little lull, and then it ends really, really well, really well. So highly recommend it. I don't know. What do you think, John? You excited?
No, I agree. I'm really excited. I still don't entirely trust Amazon to produce something that's like top notch yet, just because we haven't like there for all the good stuff that Amazon has, the best stuff they do are like the little funny things, like the spoofs and the Tick, right? Like they do a good job of like casting and giving like a very strong creative group like smaller properties, but they haven't proven to me that they can do like a big successful show. I think that the what was the dark one, the Nazi Germany actually won the war
Man in the
show.
High Castle.
Man in the High Castle.
Yeah, Man in the High Castle, I think was the first time I saw that could be a thing at Amazon, but they haven't like shown me that like they're going to compete with the AMCs and the HBOs at doing that sort of thing. And that's where I'd like to see the boys live. So that's my only reservation, but that's a small reservation next to beloved source material. Really great casting that we're seeing coming out of it. Like the decision making seems to be like they're on track for that thing to happen, that big moment. And I think it might be the boys. So I'm very excited about it.
Me too.
Yeah, me three.
All right. So we should get to
some comments.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey guys, so yeah, it took us an hour, but we get there. We're getting here. Your comments.
Well, usually, we did it kind of off this time. Usually we kind of weave them out in between stories, which we'll be doing next time. So sorry if it took so long.
So I'm kind of scrolling back up here to the top, and I'm going to get to some of your stuff that you said early on. Let's see here. Jody said, don't bother adapting the stories from the games. Just do the original story and maybe characters from the game. Have Laura investigate some archaeological thing or something.
For Tomb Raider?
For Tomb Raider. Yeah, you could do that way. I could see how that could work.
Yeah, I think that with all of this stuff, you have to give something different because the game delivers so much more as far as like hours of entertainment and in-depth storytelling that you have to break away from that in some way and set yourself apart. You either have to make it look much, much better, like have it be a much larger spectacle with huge set pieces. And, I think that's what the route that they've tried to take. But with the movie that it looks like they're making for Tomb Raider, it's almost like a direct adaptation of this kind of, hyper gritty, realistic adventure. Like it looks like it's going to be a lot more grounded, if that's the right word, because it's not really. But and so I think that they're not necessarily on the right track with that. I think that they should draw from some characters and stuff, but just deliver something completely different so that you're not stepping on your own toes.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So well said, John.
Jody asks, why was it you shaved your beard, Gary? You'll be appearing in the movie. Can you tell us? It'll be our little secret.
For Venom.
Yeah, nobody will know. Just 300 people who usually watch us. I am waiting for the phone to ring. I've made myself available, and I will be passed up like I was for Happy. It's okay. Okay. I don't want to steal the screen from everybody. No, that one I don't die horribly in the boys. But
I get messed up a lot. Yeah.
Well, I carry a crate full of flamethrowers in one scene, and then I'm on a bridge before a plane flies into it. So I guess I do die.
Yeah.
No, you totally survive. You're invulnerable. You didn't know that?
That's right. Well, I showed up later in ballistic, so I must have survived. There you go. I was just reading a Ghost World comic that was really good, and I scroll past it. So I'm going to paraphrase you, Ghost World, but he's talking about Star Wars Rebels, and what he really loves about Star Wars Rebels is they use Ralph McQuarrie's art designs. That's what when Dennis was describing it to me, because I was a fan of the Clone Wars, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do another cartoon. And he's like, no, but they designed it like everything's based on Ralph McQuarrie's art. I'm like, okay, that's what hooked me into it. Was that I remember having those portfolios that you used to buy for like $10, and it was just the big Ralph McQuarrie art designs. I still have them. I still have all three, and they've got pinholes in them because I hung them up on my ceiling when I was like 15. Yeah, I love that guy's art so much.
Jody asks, do you guys think Peter Jackson or Guillermo del Toro could do a great job directing an episode of Ash versus Evil Dead?
Yeah.
But Guillermo del Toro would never be there or on time because he's got 15,000 different projects that he's attached to and always on Twitter.
But I think both of those guys have awesome horror roots. Horror is a word I have
Yes.
a hard time saying. It always sounds like I'm saying like the other thing, the Lady of the Night, but it's a speech thing. Sorry. But no, I love The Frighteners. Love that movie, even though it wasn't full on scary movie. It was just a kind of a Ghostbustery kind of movie. But what was the really scary one Peter Jackson did? I'm forgetting the name of it now. It's the one.
Oh yeah, it's way back.
That was I love Peter Jackson. I freaking love him. So I think they would do great, especially under just working with Sam Raimi, because he pretty much ghost directs every one of those episodes. If not, then they're directing just like Sam Raimi. And so I want Sam Raimi to direct another superhero movie someday. So like Superman or something.
I mean, I would love to see him do something again, and I heard he's supposed to be in doing something. I can't remember what it was now.
I want to see James Cameron do a superhero movie. Like, I want to see somebody who's advancing technology, like in really interesting ways, take on an existing IP, like stuff. He never will.
He's attached to Avatar, and that's not going to happen
for the next 2 decades.
Yeah,
and I'm an Avatar. I'm somebody who really likes Avatar, and I still think that's a bit much. So,
yeah. Dead Alive, by the way, is the name of the Peter Jackson.
Thank you. Movie. And Jody said, Gary, and part of it was talking about Jumanji with Karen Gillan's character poking fun at the archetype she was playing. It got very meta in some places. It did, but for one, she was the standout of Jumanji. Was Karen Gillan? I loved her in Doctor Who, and I love her as Nebula. By the way, it's one of my favorite things out of Guardians of the Galaxy. This is one of the little sister fight. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I did in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I loved it.
They deal with that really well in the Telltale Guardians game as well. The Nebula, dude, the Nebula Gamora stuff is some of the coolest stuff in that game. So if you get a chance to play it, it's fun.
So Charles Rutheimer was talking about when we were talking about reviews based on actual people, not what they're getting paid. And Charles Rutheimer said, "Yep, those who blow Disney's horn get some nice seats at them premieres." Right, John?
Horn to blow.
Yeah, that is true. Well said, by the way. Way to keep it clean there. That's the problem with the whole scene, and it's just gotten worse and worse. And I think everybody saw it coming like 10 years ago. But every movie is just off, and it has been for a while. But just the whole Orville thing. That's the one that boggles my mind. Well, also look, did you see the audience score for The Last Jedi? I'm not bashing on that movie anymore. I'm just pointing out that it went down to 49%. Now that could be piling on. Actually, probably is piling on. But no, even with Star Trek Discovery, I remember some of our friends on Facebook went to the premiere. Okay, and they invited they being CBS invited a certain number of people who work in the industry who are pretty connected to a premiere. So they invited all the social media savvy ones, specifically on Twitter. So they would walk out of that episode tweeting out how great it was. And a few of those guys were on John's friends list and my friends list. And my whole feed was filled with, this is the greatest thing ever. Da, da, da. Now I've turned around on the show. I've come around on it, but it's taken a while to get there. Okay. And the first 2 episodes were not very good. And it was all BS, and they weren't paid anything. Of course they weren't paid anything, but they were invited, and I would feel obligated to give it just an extra special chance because somebody invited me. So yeah, it's not exactly payola, but it's a lot of social media ass kissing. But again, you can count on us for now.
For now.
For now.
Dot.
Let's see here. I'm going through some of this, and streaming is the future. Cable and regular TV is on the way out. It's from Jody. Yes.
So here's what's interesting about that. Like, I agree, right? Like, streaming is ultimately where we're gonna go. I think, though, that there is a difference in the way content is curated for a streaming channel and something that has to air content 24/7, where you come in halfway through something sometimes, and like, well, like the way the streaming the way that cable works, that your TV works, is different from like curated content on a streaming channel. And so I think that eventually that's where it's going, and like it should go that way. But for now, there's this need for companies to do both, right? To have a lot of airtime on cable and to have a ton of content available through these other services like CBS All Access or Hulu or whatever, right? So I think it's going to be a while until streaming is like really where, until it kind of it's going to eventually have to take a bigger part of the pie. And I don't think it's going to do that like very soon, but not very
soon. Charles Rettheimer actually mentions Squirrel Girl trilogy. I agree. Yes. I'm a big fan of Squirrel Girl. I know that the other two here are mild acquaintances of her, but not as big as I am. So yeah.
Which Squirrel Girl are we talking about here? Are we talking about like the
incarnation?
The which one?
The unbeatable Squirrel Girl, the one that's been out, that's recent.
The one that's drawn like really horribly. I'm sorry.
It's bad artwork. It is bad artwork.
Yeah, I'm a GLA
fun story.
Squirrel Girl fan. Great Lake Avengers, back in those days.
I know.
Not too long ago. Okay. Well, I'm talking to the audience too, Dennis. Okay. Jesus Christ. Yeah, there's other people here. I don't know if you noticed.
There are
20.
Yeah. No. Which is the way that it looks like they're going on the TV show, like cute Squirrel Girl instead of like not cute Squirrel Girl. I think it'd be fun. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of those comics that are out right now, though, at all.
She was in like Heroes for Hire. Like, she was the babysitter for, right? Like, that's
Luke
the Squirrel
Cage
Girl I remember, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
Not my favorite.
No, although the one they got now is it's really indie comic, and it's made for girls and stuff. So yeah, I can understand why I wouldn't like it. Yeah, it's not made for me.
Anna Kendrick Squirrel Girl.
Ghost World says the Fantastic Four cannot make it on the big screen. I'm so tired of seeing those crappy characters. I actually just changed it, trying to make their way onto the screen after like 5 failures. I just don't think we've seen, the whole thing is Gary and I, we've talked about, a couple times in our podcast now of how we would bring them back, and they really need to do like almost a throwback to like a 60s kind of action adventure, I think Johnny Quest-ish kind of characters, and make them kind of lost in time in the negative zone, and then come back now. So you have your fish out of water, but also the super scientists kind of thing, like Venture Brothers in a way, but fun.
So I feel like we've already seen a really good Fantastic Four movie. It's called The Incredibles. I feel like that's a route you can take. Like, those characters can work. It's just that they've made like maybe the most stupid decisions you possibly could make when trying to adapt them for several movies in a row. It's like, hey, what's the best decision we could make here for a Fantastic Four movie? Let's do the opposite. Like even like a Future Foundation movie could be fun. Like there's so much cool stuff they could do. And they end up doing like this weird thing where like Johnny Storm is adopted, and they're like in a scientific, like it's just all very like bad decisions.
Yeah.
And so like just take like a good story and put it in a movie with the characters that we know, and you'll be fine. The Fantastic Four is as good or as bad as any other comic property. It has to do with how you treat the characters, and like they just have sucked so far.
It's how you approach it. So if you approach it with, well, nobody's going to buy this family thing anymore, so we got to change it, what John was just talking about, then all of a sudden you've already defeated yourself, and you're going to make a piece of crap. And it's the same thing with Superman. It's like, he's too difficult to write. He's just a Boy Scout. Right. Well, you know what? A good writer, that all of a sudden you're self-defeating right there. That's
Do
BS.
All-Star Superman and you've got a hit.
Alan Moore wrote 2 very good Superman stories. Okay, Alan freaking Moore, the darkest man who doesn't like Boy Scouts at all. He wrote one of the greatest Superman stories ever written. Like whatever happened to the man of tomorrow.
Mario Puzo, the guy who wrote The Godfather, wrote the screenplay for Superman movie.
So yeah, that's a BS excuse, and this Fantastic Four is the same thing. You just approach them with love and respect, and dude, make it a period piece. Make it in the 60s. Start it in the 60s, and you're fine. Or start it now and just, I don't know, write a family. But that's part of my whole thing that I've talked about a lot on this podcast. I don't know if there's anybody left in Hollywood who would know how to write a family, a good family. It doesn't have to be a perfect family. None is, but they do exist. And yeah, just you make it that, and you make it a fun movie like Jumanji. You make it tonally just like that. Just it's Jumanji is just a fun movie about friendship that happens to be in a game. It's nothing deep, but that's how you make it. You just make it fun. You got to focus on that. The Fan Four Stick one, they wanted to go dark, and oh god, it was just weird.
I think that they would be smart, however, to since the franchise has the name Fantastic Four in movies has suffered pretty badly. I think that they would be smart to like I do think like the Future Foundation title for a Fantastic Four movie for the first one would be smart, and then call the next one Fantastic Four or something, and just do FF title all the way along. Because they need to not like. I do think people would see Fantastic Four and be like, "Oh, you mean that movie?" They'll think the Trank one, or they'll think the Jessica Alba one, and they're not gonna love it.
Oh, that's smart.
That's what happened with
Focus on the FF. Yeah. And for what they were, the Tim Story Fantastic Fours were not great. My kids loved them. And I got to see Silver Surfer on screen. It wasn't great, but that's something from when I was, because that was the first movie Marvel was going to make forever. It goes all the way back to 1982. They were supposed to do a Silver Surfer movie, and I crap you not, people. That's one of the oldest rumored movies in Marvel's history. Was a Silver Surfer movie. I remember Jim Shooter talking about it. So to see that was cool. Always loved the Silver Surfer. I want to throw in Johnny Pappas said, do a Squadron Supreme movie to show DC Warner. Yeah, that's awesome. I think that would be great.
So good. That would be amazing. I would love that.
Dude, Straczynski's Squadron Supreme was so good.
It was awesome, yeah. But I mean, then again, he had a first run at it with Rising Stars, so I think he just kind of tightened it up a bit more.
He just, it's okay. It's his own story. What the hell?
Oh yeah,
Rising Stars TV show would be amazing too.
But dude, just like there's straight up nudity and sex, and like in a Marvel comic, and it and all they did was put the Marvel Knights, or was it Max? No, it was Marvel Max. So they put the Max on it, which was fine, but that was a little shocking. Yeah, we got full frontal nudity in those.
But that's basically kind of where The Boys is going to go. Right, like The Boys is going to get there first. That's the coolest thing about the Boys project. To circle back on that a little bit, the fact that The Boys is coming out before something like Squadron Supreme, or one of these kind of like, hey, these are the superheroes, but they're dark and twisted. The fact that this is going to be the first one that's going to come out for like a big TV show or movie is, I think, a huge deal. Because there's a number of them in that same vein, the Millar world and stuff like that could, and I think The Boys striking first is going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely one of the best.
Hell yeah. Sorry, I'm reading a quote here too. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going through it as well. So
go for it, Dennis.
No, go ahead. You've got one.
I was just reading one of Ghost Worlds, and I agree with you on so bizarre to hear Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I still can't get used to that joke. Yeah, I think she'll be okay. But it was really weird to hear. I only know her from Scott Pilgrim, by the way. So yeah, it's not how I saw Carol Danvers. And I used to read Miss Marvel way back in the day. It was like just a very average book at best. I remember picking up. I was on a trip to San Francisco, and I picked a Miss Marvel comic from a 7-Eleven or something like that, and read it while we were going over the Golden Gate Bridge. And yeah, it's weird. That movie's going to be very hard for them because
Yeah.
that'll be their first female movie. She can't come out and just be like a stoic. That's kind of what I'm worried about Black Panther is you had that with Captain America. The first Avenger was a good movie, but he was a little stiff in it. Okay, let's be honest. There wasn't a lot. He developed, and by Civil War, that was a fully developed character. But
they definitely learned some lessons, I think, from releasing that first
So-
Captain America movie.
it's like Brie Larson's got to almost be like Robert Downey Jr. Like she's got to be funny. There's got to be some humor in there, and I know that's not Carol Danvers' character, but her character is a big nothing in the comic books. So they need to have her like kind of stand out. And if she pulls that off, then it's going to be good.
Yeah,
that's going to be good, especially with Skrulls in it. I'm excited about that.
Jody says, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna just say I still wish that the woman who played Starbuck, like she was perfect, like she was to me.
Katie
Like
Sackhoff?
it would have been so good.
Yeah.
So Katie Sackhoff, I just wish that we had gotten that. And
She's fun.
yeah,
I don't know if Brie Larson's like. I mean, and she really just comes off that way. And we've seen her in more than just Battlestar Galactica. So at least I know that's like in her personality.
Yes. It's very the Brie Larson is very reminiscent to the Amy Adams as Lois Lane to me.
Yes.
Like, the kind of not every, but you know what I mean? Like she's not, there's this like striking strength that she's lacking for me. And like maybe that'll be brought through the character. There's so maybe that'll be like it may work. I'm not saying it's not going to work, and I'm not saying she's a terrible choice. I just think like that's not what I envisioned. So they're gonna like have to figure it out. That's something they're gonna have to figure out.
She talks in buzzwords on her Twitter sometimes, and that just irritates the F out of me.
Yeah, she had a photo that she just posted, or no, she didn't post it. Actually, the airman that she was with at the Air Force Base, because she's spent a couple days there, and she has the worst plastic smile on her face. That I was just like, wow, yeah.
She probably was sick. They probably they're probably all. We took her. Yeah, the actress is going to come and learn how to be a pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she went there for like 2 days, like about as long as Ray worked on her lightsaber skills.
Yeah,
and that's what they do. That was really rigorous training for like 3 days.
Yeah,
whatever.
Jody says, how about the first Fantastic Four movie be set in the 1960s and then have them somehow trapped in some pocket dimension, then rescued in the modern era? Yeah, that's what we were saying is that Reed finds the negative zone, that they get trapped there because they have no way of coming back, and like Ant-Man or somebody reopens it and gets them out of it. And since time travels, or time in that universe is slower than our time, that they come out where it's only been like 6 months for them, something like that. And they're still the same, and that way you can still have that, as Davis Schmeiden says, don't try to modernize the FF, drop the cringy retro goodness on our heads. Exactly.
Yeah.
You bring that whole crazy super science stuff in there and just make it fun.
Yeah. What happened to making stuff timeless? They love the rubber stamp, like was made in 2017. It's like I would, if I was a filmmaker, I'd try every way possible to not date my movie at all, because I'd want people in 30 years to watch it and aside from effects, still enjoy it, still think it's in a weird world. That's what I always loved about Burton's Batman. The one thing about Burton's Batman is like, tell me what year it was. Because they had like fedoras on, but they were driving around in 70s sedans, and like there wasn't, I don't think there was a cell phone, and yes, they had them back then. There was just nothing. I can't remember a computer. They were still using typewriters, stuff like that. I would just mix it up a little bit, and that's, I don't know, but
yeah. And this way they could also bring in Dr. Doom. They could bring in Kang.
Yes.
They could bring in, they could bring in a whole bunch of characters.
Well, they're fixed. That's what Avengers 4 is going to do. I don't think it's any secret they're doing a multiverse thing, and that's going to be their way to shoehorn stuff in. Yeah, I don't like that idea. I know it's probably the only way they can do it. I just don't like it. I don't know. But it's the Russos, so it'll probably be pretty damn good. We didn't talk about one piece of news, Dennis. We'll get back to comments in a second, but the Flash directors.
Yeah, didn't we?
No, we didn't talk about John Goldstein and John Daly.
Oh, I must have skipped that over. I did
doing-
actually. I take that
doing
back.
Flashpoint. And since we're talking about superhero movies, and I can't remember the name, the guy who just took over the DC Films, it's called now. I'm still going to call it DCEU.
Yeah.
His first major move is to bring the writers from Spider-Man Homecoming in to direct, and I guess they did Vacation.
Yeah, they did the Vacation reboot / sequel, and actually they're in talks right now. So it's John Daly and Jonathan Goldstein. They're in talks to direct Flashpoint, not Flash, but Flashpoint. So it's actually, yeah,
that Ben Affleck turned down.
Exactly.
So it's turned into talks now, huh? Because I heard it was a done deal.
Do they have a script?
No, not really. This would be the fourth script that they're working, or excuse me, third script, fourth set of directors. So that's what it would be under.
Yeah, man. I don't know. What do you guys think about? Do you want to see a Flashpoint movie? Basically resetting the DC EU.
If you do Flashpoint, you could bring in, as someone says, where you had Thomas Wayne become the Batman, and you can actually bring in Jeffrey Dean Morgan as the Batman, since he was Bruce Wayne's father. He was Thomas Wayne in the movies.
Okay,
which would be awesome.
That's a positive.
That's in the pros column. Look. This is so weird. Yeah. What DCEU? Like, they've got a bunch of failed movies. Like, there are some that are better than others, but they just have a bunch of like mediocre superhero movies that are like kind of strung together into a universe. And now they're going to reboot that. Like, what's the point? Like, I just don't. How about you like make something and then reboot that thing instead of like struggling through a series of failures and then rebooting those failures? Like,
you go that route. That'd be novel.
Really strange. Really, really strange.
This is the second reboot, by the way. Okay, so they were supposed to start the original Green Lantern and Brandon Roth's Superman Returns were supposed to be a shared universe, very loosely, but it was supposed to be shared. That didn't happen. So they do this. Now this isn't going to happen. They had a whole studio like set aside and had people running it. They fired them. This is after what, 5 years, maybe 4, and then they bring in these two guys who, granted, on the with it was a great success, but I read down that guy's Hamada, I think his name. I read down his resume, and I saw a lot of horror sequels that were like, they were okay, but like
all New Line Cinema stuff.
I didn't see any superhero stuff. So
yeah.
And then their first move is to get these guys. Now, hey, they might be the next Russo brothers. I doubt it. Because that stuff just doesn't happen. Russo brothers were lightning, and they got lucky with the Russo brothers. They just were waiting to break out. The
one dude, John Daly, he was on Bones. He was an actor actually on there on Bones. He was their psychiatrist.
Yeah.
So just weird.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't want, and I don't like this version of the Flash.
No, I don't like Ezra Miller as the Flash.
TV is Grant Gustin's way better. I would just bring in the TV guys and just amp it up a bit. Like bring in the same cast and just like give them a bigger budget and just amp it up.
Yeah,
you know, why not?
And give Stephen Amell a goatee and a little jaunty hat.
Yeah.
Stephen Amell's great. Like he should be in these movies, like Grant Gustin's a little more TV, even though he fits Barry Allen really well. Like, I don't see him as like a movie star, but he could be, I guess. You're right though. It's in comparison, like they're way better, like it's just weird. They need to figure out what they want. Like whoever is in charge of Warner Brothers DC movies needs to figure out if they want to compete with Marvel, if they want to do their own thing, if they want this connected universe in some sort of chronological fashion, if they just want to have some sort of shared canvas that they, hire a bunch of different creators to paint within. Like they need to figure out what they're going to do, because right now they've kind of mix and matched all of those ideas, and none of them have been particularly successful. So I think that they need to bring someone in who like has a clear direction.
Yeah, and it goes to show you kind of what we were talking about earlier. When you work there and you just see it every day, you understand how hard these things are to get made and how special Kevin Feige is. Like there'll never be another guy like that. When this cinematic universe ends, and it's fundamentally going to end with Avengers 4. I mean, whatever happens beyond that, that won't be part of what we just experienced. And that is one of a kind. It proves that it can be done. I'm not saying it can't be done again and pretty well, but this was like gold standard. Like most of the MCU movies were really, really good. And even the worst ones are watchable. You know, I could sit down and watch Dark World, you know, I'm okay with that. Yeah. I can't believe, but DC's had the ability to do this since the Donner days.
Yes,
You know what I mean? And they have not been able to get their crap together. Dude, they've got arguably the best cartoon characters ever made. They can't do anything with them. They don't know what to do. It's like, who owns Warner Brothers? I mean,
yeah. Oh, and Ghost World, by the way, Green Lantern is part of the DCEU. They just mentioned them in Justice League. That was Steppenwolf actually mentioned that, you know, the Kryptonians are gone and the Green Lanterns are gone.
But yeah. Yeah. So, but I don't know about the first movie. The first movie was supposed to be connected with Superman Returns, and then they were going to maybe like try to talk Nolan, or at least, you know, to be a part of it too, although he was having none of it.
No,
that's why he helped. Actually, remember, Nolan was behind the whole launching of the DCU. He was there in the beginning and like handed it off to Zack Snyder.
He was like, out, peace.
I don't know. People, I like some of Zack Snyder's work. I do. There, I said it. Come at me. Come at me, bro. I like Watchmen.
I like 300. 300 was
I like 300, and I like Watchmen, the big, long 4-hour version. Oh my God. That was one of the coolest things, is I got to watch that with Derek. Derek and I watched it at his house, and we just geeked out to it, and it was fun.
I think Zack Snyder, like, visually is great. Like,
yep.
I think, like, if you take screenshots from his movies, like, a lot of stuff looks really cool. Visually, I love the way he works with slow-mo and integrates music. Like, I think he has a lot of cool stuff. It doesn't work for like deep storytelling across across multiple movies that are also directed by other people. Like it never really was ever going to fit into that sort of a thing. James Gunn isn't the foundation point for the Marvel movies, right? Like he's the side, like the Guardians thing kind of lives on the side.
Yep. Yeah. In a very good place.
Yeah, exactly.
And but he has some say in it. Like he has some say, and no Ghost World. Yeah. I never said Ghost Rider 1 and 2 are watchable. I just like them because I'm a Ghost Rider fan.
Yeah.
That's all.
And you know, Ghost World actually, a DC New Frontier movie would be awesome, but it wouldn't gel with like the whole overarching. Basically, what DC just needs to do is they just need to do Elseworlds movies at this point, live action Elseworlds movies.
That's what they're best at.
Yeah,
they could still connect it. I mean, honestly, and who was it? I think it was Monday. Matt pointed out today, Thanos hasn't been in everything. No. He's actually, I don't think he's been in enough. That's why it's been disappointing that he wasn't mentioned in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I think, and because I think they've had a hard time figuring out where to put him. Yeah. And I don't, and Monday Matt pointed out, great example was, Game of Thrones. Like the White Walkers have been teased every season, okay, from the very first season, and they gave you a little something. They gave you a little something. Well, people didn't drive back; they rode horses back then, or in that. So they gave us a little something, and then a little more every season, and it's paid off, except for that crappy last season. But Thanos hasn't been thinking. You could do that with the DC universe. Just don't they just put the cart before the horse. That's all they did.
Yeah.
And you could, just have Darkseid show up. Base everything on the freaking Justice League Unlimited. Dennis and I have said this a million times, and John's probably chimed in too. Just base it on Justice League Unlimited. And
actually, Davis Schmeiden just said that. What do you guys think of an attempt to bring back the Dini-verse JL cartoon? And yeah, we're all for it.
Yep.
I mean,
Dini, where's he and all? Like, have him run this thing.
We talked about this in one of the previous with the mugging that happened years ago. He's pretty shell shocked, so he does not do well in stressful situations.
That's
and
fair.
So he's hit and miss.
That's a huge bummer because he's the kind of storytelling he's done with this stuff would be a perfect creative director for all of these projects, to exist within.
Bruce Timm would be awesome. I mean, actually, Bruce Timm just said after Gotham by Gaslight comes out, the animated, the next thing he wants to do animation wise is Red Sun.
That's what I was going to say. That would be my favorite. Like, if they could do a Red Sun movie. Like, I don't know if the DC universe needs to be the same as the Marvel universe. Like, they have better, Kingdom Come, Brave and the Bold, Red Sun, all these kind of other stories that they could tell with these characters would be much more interesting to me than some sort of shared.
Just do a bunch of solo movies, and once every 5 years, team them up to fight some big bad guy. And you know what? Don't do stingers at the end. That's all you have to do. But the actual movies themselves do not have to interconnect in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
It happened, and that's kind of the way it is in DC anyway. Marvel's feels more connected, always has felt more connected to me, but DC is always told, because they're free to do that, they tell the individual story better. We can, oh my god, they have so many things we can, screw it, have everything lead up to Kingdom Come, just work your way towards that. Just do a bunch of solo movies. Nobody shows up in anybody else's movie until the end. That's it.
When it crosses over to Kingdom Come. That'd be amazing.
And that way it counts. Yeah. That way it really, really freaking counts. It's like you get the team up at the end, and that's it. So
that's why this Titans show is so exciting to me, is because we're just going to get a good TV show, hopefully, with a bunch of fun characters in the DC universe. I'm more excited for Titans than I've been for almost any other DC project.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Even if Berlanti's involved in this one too.
I think so. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know,
guys.
Sorry,
I think he is.
Ghost World says, "Wait, what? Mugging?" And yes, so Paul Dini was mugged in New York. This is probably about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe a little bit more, and he was beaten up pretty badly. He was in the hospital. He's actually done a story about it. And it actually affected him quite a bit. He has a lot of post-traumatic stress from it, and it's well known that he doesn't do well under stress now because of this incident. He still deals with it to this day. So it was pretty bad. So, and
Berlanti is involved. He's an executive producer with Akiva Goldsman and Jeff Johns on
Akiva Goldsman. No, I was dude, he has pictures of everybody in Hollywood. I don't know. Okay, so he did A Beautiful Mind, which I hated, by the way, but more because it beat a movie I like for Best Picture.
Yeah.
He did Batman and Robin.
He wrote Batman Forever, Batman Robin, Lost in Space, I, Robot, Mindhunter, Starsky and Hutch. Yeah, he's all over the board. None of it's particularly good.
Everything you named off of it sucked.
King Arthur, Legend of the Sword producer. Yeah, Transformers Last Night, Star Trek Discovery. Yeah.
Transformers Last Night. That's, right there alone. Yeah, I honestly, I could write better. And I can't even spell. So, yeah, whatever. Oh, okay. There you go. Johnny Papa's the Dark Superman movie is going to be Mark Waid's Irredeemable. I would love to see that adapted. That needs to be on an HBO or something like that, because that was good. That was Mark Waid's last good thing before he kind of went a little Twitter crazy. But loved Irredeemable so much, and I sold the crap out of that one in my store because I wouldn't stop talking about it. I was just going, "Have you read Irredeemable? It's the best comic ever."
That was so good.
Yeah.
He did amazing. His Daredevil run was ridiculous, right? Like he was
Oh,
the
it was
one who,
really, really good.
yeah.
But irredeemable. He was good until he was good up until I sold the store, and then somewhere in 2014, 15, he lost it. Like, and I think it's maybe he needs to go to DC for a little while. Just change it up, kind of like Bendis did. Maybe that'll help. A little change of scenery. I don't know, but yeah, and I would try to sell that, but I don't care if you're 10. Read Irredeemable. It's good.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Let's see what else we've got here. Sorry, guys. Davis says Warner Brothers is run by people who just don't care for comics. It's true. They don't. We know this.
And David says Watchmen was awesome. It worked. I don't get the hate. I don't either. I know a lot of people hate it, but I really feel it's a movie in about a couple more years, people are going to start appreciating a lot because it's good. It's very good. I've watched it many, many times. I have it. I got it was the second movie I bought on 4K. The first being Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd is awesome.
You mean Dredd or Dredd?
Dredd.
Okay.
Dredd with Urbane. I call it Judge Dredd.
Yeah, I call it Dredd. So I
call
have
it
to
Judge.
differentiate.
There's a lot of kneecaps shot out in that movie.
There is, and you see it in 4K, and you can. it looks beautiful. Violence is a thing of beauty in that movie a little bit. They glorify it quite a bit. So, and it looked, you know what, especially when you see when I've watched the movie like 4 times now, and you could see like a lot of repeated scenes. That thing was done on a shoestring budget. Yeah, they couldn't even afford the judge part. They can only afford the dread part in the title. So,
well, they want to differentiate themselves from the Sylvester.
Yeah. They also, they wound up doing something in common and flopping the movie because they didn't put the GD title of the comic book in the movie. Yeah. Stupid. That was dumb. Let's just call it Spider. You know?
A lot of people thought it was just a sequel to the Sylvester Stallone one. That's the reason why I did.
So what? No, it did so bad because it didn't get marketed, and it was called Dredd, not Judge Dredd. It has great word of mouth. I mean, I'll listen to the chat. Have anybody seen the Dredd? What'd you think? I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about that movie.
Yeah, I think everyone in the chat has both said they've liked.
Well, they are working on the TV
one
show.
or both.
They are working on the TV show, and hopefully, Carl Urbane, however you pronounce it, is coming back for that.
Johnny says dreadful marketing.
Yes.
Right.
Brilliant.
Like I understand but that's Hollywood think that's really dumb, and that's where I've offered my service. I offer them now, and I'm sure Dennis and John do too. Big studio, if you want to come talk to me, dude, I'll drive myself down there. I'll put up my own hotel room. I will give you free advice on how to market your GD movies. Because I don't know, I didn't do anything. I just talked to people for 10 years straight about comic books. So I don't know, what the hell do I know? But just ask us. You want your comic book characters to look as close as humanly possible to what they did in the effing comic. There's your marketing advice.
So they're iconic comic, not like just pick a random comic and say, oh, it kind of looks like that. Like, no, find the most iconic version of that character and make your character look like that in the movie.
You know, and if you're afraid of Stallone's, if that was their thinking, God, okay, I would be so confident in that movie, especially a movie that well made. I'll call it Judge Dredd, and then we'll be known as Judge Dredd because our competition is just that Stallone movie, which I do find some enjoyment in a little bit. Sorry to say,
cheesy goodness. Whatever, it is what it is.
They did take
Pacifica's own Rob Schneider is in it, so.
Oh God, yeah.
At least he wasn't going, you can do it. No.
He did actually do a really good Stallone impersonation to his face, which I liked. Mr. I am the law.
I am the law. The only thing I didn't like about Stallone, I think Stallone was actually well cast when he had the helmet on. He's got that whole undercut thing was perfect. I don't know. I like them both, but the second one much better. Carl Urbane is. I always want to call him Urban, so it is Urbane. It's not Carl Urban. Okay. I know. So I'm asking you.
All right,
it's Urbane.
I don't know. I always call him Urbane, but
is there an E at the end of his name?
No, there isn't any. But
Oh, that's Carl Urban.
okay, it's our Carl Urban then. There we go.
There you go. Got me saying his name wrong. Damn it, Dennis. All right, let me get back to my Dennis. Go to the chat because I just lost it on my phone.
It says very low PR, but Charles Ruttenheimer says very low PR budget in UK. It's like they released it without telling anyone.
I know, right? Well, Dennis was talking about it every day for like a year, so I wasn't gonna.
Yeah, so he was ignoring me on it, as he usually does.
Dennis gets like
I'll
Rain
get to
Man.
it.
He gets like hooked into something. He's like, comes in, hear about Dread? It's gonna be great. Can't wait. It's gonna be so awesome, Dread.
Well, hey, I'm a huge Dread fan. What can I say?
Hey, are you hungry? Dread's gonna be great. Do you like ice cream? Dread's gonna be great. Definitely Dread.
Dread should be nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah,
I'm not that crazy, okay?
definitely. You're an excellent driver, though.
I
You
am,
are.
especially in the driveway.
Judge Dredd drinking game. There you go. Oh my god. So I was gonna think of a top 5 and I forgot it. So I don't know. What do you guys got,
Viking,
man?
Viking Beach, are you still there? Let us know if you are. So I think
do you guys have anything else? I mean, I just wanted to talk about the mergers. The main news for me is like how scary this big Verizon, Amazon, Goliath could be with Viacom and CBS. And like, I like CBS reality shows are like my other thing, right? On top of all this stuff like Big Brother, Survivor. And so to hear that, like I could totally see like at a certain point people being like, why Big Brother? So you have a whole lot set up for this show that airs just during the summer, that is just a bunch of reality people living in a house together, that you have cameras on them 24/7. Like, we don't want to, like, why are we going to pay for this to exist? Like I can just totally see them scrapping a lot of like interesting stuff if that merger happens. Like the CBS part, like the whole thing is scary, but the fact that some of the content might change, like the Lionsgate CBS stuff is also annoyingly scary.
Yeah.
And Stars, like, do you really want Stars being run by Amazon? Like, I don't know if that's something that I would love.
No. Although they're practically on it now, and Viking Beach is back, Dennis.
Yes, she is. I saw that she's
okay.
She had actually requested that I bring in some of my artwork because she
I remember her talking about that. Yeah, maybe I can reach one of my pictures. You sure?
So I
can walk over there.
Yeah, I've got some stuff here. Let's see if I can do the screen share of. Let's see if we do an application window. Here we go. And let me do that.
Oh, we have to knock something down.
So this is some of your artwork, Dennis?
Yes. Here we go. Is it up there? Can you see it?
It's
or
black right now.
It's black right now. Okay. Let me
now you're back.
Okay. Let me try that again.
What did he do?
He's trying to share some artwork.
I don't know if you can.
No, he did there for a second. It came up and then it turned black and then he came back.
Oh, you got to say present to all when it's up there.
Yeah. No, I realized. Yeah. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves, and I'm going to find out how to do this real quick. And
they're working on a John Wick series on Stars. Yeah, I think we talked about that last week on the Friday. Obviously, that's something that Dennis is. We all are digging that, but Dennis is definitely the big. He's the first to discover the Wickness. Oh
yeah, no, I was actually when that movie came out, I was there. The first one, I was there opening night at ArcLight. And the nice thing about it was ArcLight in Hollywood had Keanu Reeves, the director and the producer and the writer
for the Q&A.
And they were streaming it live to us as well. So all we had to do on Twitter was actually ask them questions via Twitter, and they were seeing it there. So we got the live feed. It was kind of cool right after the movie. So it was like being there, but not really being there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could get. I like the movies a lot. Like one of them was on my top movies the last 4 years. I don't know if I hate that. It's weird saying that Keanu was what hooks me in, but it is. I never thought I'd say that about Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
But
he's surprisingly like consistently in good movies. It's weird. It's really strange because you don't think of him that way necessarily, but like, yeah, he's in a lot of good stuff. Like he's good.
Dennis, are you pulling up your Galactus shot?
I am
Surfer?
pulling up
Yeah.
in here.
All right. We should
there we go. Are we screen sharing? No, I'm screen sharing there. Can you see all that?
Dennis's porn collection. Oh, sorry.
Hey, you're not supposed to see that.
That's very bad. Somebody's daughter, man.
I am trying to see. That's the whole thing. Is I can't just get one picture to come up.
You gotta you gotta open the picture. I'm gonna do this live. You gotta open the picture, make sure there's a window open, okay, and then you hit share screen, and it gives you a chance to share that window individually. And then you say present to everybody.
This is the stuff we have to practice before the show.
Got old men
exactly
interneting. It's really freaking hilarious doing this live. How do you do this again? Like, here, you want me to get my 12-year-old to explain it to you? He has to help me.
Hang on. There we go. I'm back again. Okay, let me do that again.
Yeah, this may be next week.
This is are you going to try that now? You want to email it to me?
Sorry, man. It's the first time I've been doing this, and yeah, we should have done this beforehand. Yeah, like in a pre-production or something.
Here, I'll show you. Like, because I draw on paper, you know. So this is a doodle I did at work of Hellboy. This is a doodle I did at home of David Tennant, and this is actually somebody asked me to do this, and then I never saw him again. So this was a little commission I did for a Valkyrie on Defenders.
Oh, the Valkyrie was awesome.
Thanks. I'm glad they didn't pay me because then I feel bad. That was a free thing.
So anything else this week, guys? Are we
we're kind of dead. I'm gonna go through the comments here real quick before my phone dies. But yeah, Dennis did this great painting of Galactus behind a live action or a life-size Silver Surfer I got for like nothing. They were going to throw it away after Rise of the Silver Surfer, and I drove over to the East Bay, paid a couple $100 for it, brought it back, and then I had this idea of putting it in this, like, there's above my front door in the store, there's like this little, I don't even know what you call it. It's like a space above, it's with a shelf, you know. So we put him up there. Silver Surfer fit, but it needed a background. I'm like, God, I wish somebody would paint a Galactus, you know. And I'm not a good painter. I can draw, but I can't paint with the crap. And Dennis said he'd do it, so he got a big old we got this giant piece of canvas, and it's still there to this very day. It is still in the comic experience.
At the Outpost?
Yeah, It's still there. And if you go to Dennis's Facebook, it's on there. I think it's on there.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna send it over to you because honestly, it's not showing my picture. It's showing the one screen, but for some reason, it's not showing the picture itself when I have that open on the applications window for some unknown reason.
Well, we can share it, or you can go to Facebook and look at. I think we should.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the chat.
Right? Yeah, we'll put a link to it in the chat. We should wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, I can't think of anything else. Did you see anything else in the comments? Comments or my phone?
No, I think we answered the big ones. There's some good discussion though. And for all you guys who don't join us live, some of the funniest stuff that we can't do like appropriately or justice to on the show is happening in the live chat, which we're not able to publish afterwards. So, if you're able to, the rough schedule is on nerdrotic.com. Sometimes we're a few minutes late here or there, but the rough schedule is on Nerdrotic. You should try to join us live because there's a lot of fun stuff that we get to go through in the live chat. So if not, thank you for everyone who did show up in the live chat, who pledged us super chats. Thank you. That was really amazing.
Thank you guys. Yes.
And don't forget, we do have our Patreon still set up. It's patreon.com/nerdrotic. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Jon Reed 16, JONREED 16. Dennis is at DaForce, DAFORCE, and Gary is at Nerdrotics. That's with an S. It's plural. You can also follow Melissa, who covers a lot of stuff throughout the week for us, at Agent Bossy Boots. And we've got our Facebook page. You can like us there. If you haven't already subscribed on YouTube, please do that. Hit the little bell. Like our videos if you like them. Thumbs down if you don't. We don't care. You can comment anytime you want. We try to get to your comments throughout the week. So, take a look. It's all there. I think that's everything. All the main stuff anyway.
That's
You
good.
guys have been really great as viewers, though. The community has been growing, and it's been really, really fun.
I love it. And let's thank the community. We got Ghost World, Jody, Johnny Pappas, David Schmaden. Sorry, David. My last name's hard too. Johnny Pappas,
Viking Beach, Darth Barbecue,
Isaiah. Isaiah is a patron on Patreon. So
thank you, Isaiah.
I will be in contact with you. So I can give you your prize package, and then we can talk about what podcast you would like to see, because you get to pick one. So thank you so much, Darth Barbecue,
Ghost World, Charles. Thank you, Rudheimer.
And I'm just trying to make sure I got everybody. If I missed you, I am sorry.
Annie C
Charles
was in there earlier.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
and a lot of people laughing at me, trying to get that picture up, which granted, it was funny.
yeah
and yes, Johnny Pappas there, he was asking, did I turn it off and on again? Yes, I know you're in IT, and
an MVP this week or tonight, Arturo. Thank you for the $20 super chat. That was really amazing. And we like
Johnny. Johnny Pappas.
Johnny for the $2. Yes,
both the super chatters. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And we're just rambling, but we love rambling with you guys. We might do another one this weekend. Just because I'll be around. What the hell? So, and we're doing Counterpart
tomorrow.
Yeah. So, Counterpart tomorrow. It'll be probably at 10 o'clock.
Yes,
because it's going to air at 9. So if you guys want to see the recap of Counterpart, what did I say? Remind me to super chat you guys next show. Okay, Ghost World, I'll do that if you so choose. That's cool. And Isaiah says, sweet. That's right. No, man. Thank you, brother. So if you want to be part of the Counterpart recap, we'll be on at 10 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow night. Then it's John and I for Star Trek Discovery at 7:30 p.m. So during the day, we'll probably pop on and do a live stream just to chit chat away. And then I am traveling next week, so we might have some scheduling changes, but only one really. But I'll be around for most of the podcast. We might have to move Happy to Thursday though. That's just a possibility.
Really?
Okay. Because I'm hitting the road, and we can't do a double header unless well, we could talk about this after the podcast, but unless you and John want to do it, that could work.
That could be a possibility. Yeah. And yes, Davis, rule number 1, don't have a porn collection, especially when you're sharing a screen to lots of people.
That should be your sign off from now on.
Always, and especially your computer could crash. You would just want to keep it in DVDs, hard copies, man. Trust me. They take up a lot of space, but seriously, a lot of trouble downing that stuff illegally.
Or just stream it.
Oh, by the way, Darth Barbecue Counterpart with Jk Simmons is on Stars, and if you sign up for Stars, they have a free 7-day trial, so you can always try that out and watch all their shows and stuff like that for the first 7 days, and then of course cancel it
or keep it going, because that's how Ash stays around. Or buy the Blu-ray. Just buy the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I've both of us, me and Gary, have both watched it while it airs, and then also bought the Blu-rays for Ash versus Evil Dead.
Aren't you special?
Hey, no, it's a good show, man.
It is
an awesome show.
We are special.
I know.
We are special too.
We're also
all right. Well, if that is it, Dennis, take us out, man.
Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America, and the rest of the world, and keep your porn collection hidden while you're screen sharing.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness.
Awesome. Bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.